It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stat Scoresworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Connor helping us out produce again today. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours and plenty to talk about today. Got to talk some basketball, some baseball, a little NFL. Got to make golf picks. 2 tournaments this weekend for us, so a lot of picks that we have to make here in about an hour. Tiger basketball news, a little bit of everything over the next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well, Brian. Grizzlies win.
That's right. Grizzlies won last night. We mentioned it kind of getting out yesterday about kind of all the guys that were going to be sitting yesterday, but they get the win last night over the 76ers Summer League team, and so that was fun to watch, and you got to see those 2 second-round draft picks, and both had their moments and played well, and so I thought that was fun to see, and so, we'll see tonight. Sounds like I haven't heard anything directly from either the beat writers or from the team, but it sounds like Zach Edey and those guys that missed last night will likely play tonight. So it's going to be another fun night for Grizzlies Summer League and the fans that enjoy watching that. Tonight should be fun. Another early game, 6 o'clock tip tonight against OKC.
Eli Savoy, he was the one that coined and kind of mastered Grizzasters and the various levels of Grizzasters. So right now for Zach Edey, I don't even know if I want to even joke about this after what we just practically went through. So where are we on kind of Edey fever? We're not at full pandemic, are we?
It's
you can't be at full pandemic in summer league.
No, I don't think so. But it's definitely it's a good fever. I think. I think you're calling in sick from school with the fever that I've seen on
not
on
playing
social media.
sick.
No, I think the fever's real. I think people have bought it because I'm seeing. I think if it was a fake fever
but this would having fever and missing vacation Bible school.
It would be. But what I'm seeing on social media, and I know Twitter's not a real place, but what I'm seeing, it sounds like everybody's sold on him, and people are really excited for what he'll do for the Grizzlies, and so I would say the fever is there and it's real, and we'll see if he can back that up even more tonight. If he plays tonight, I think he will, but if he plays tonight, we'll see what he can do.
But we will see next year in season this play out. We will see. I talked about there'll be those games we come in after maybe not so flattering a box score, but there will be games. And it'll be games early where he's a difference that we come in and, this is the answer. This is the right piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I'm sure a lot of other people are more confident than I am on that. But, yeah, I think, if he shows what, I think people project that he will, he will definitely be very effective for this team. And, if he's out there, really dominating the pick and roll and able to score inside and get rebounds and putbacks. And we were talking the other night watching him. Even some of the rebounds he didn't get where he's just tapping it back out to guys on the perimeter. If he can do that in the regular season and be really efficient with it, then we will be talking about him being a difference maker in a lot of games in the regular season.
If he's Rookie of the Year, is that a good thing?
Yeah, I think anytime someone's named Rookie of the Year, that's a good thing for them.
Well, you could be Rookie of the Year on a 38-44 team.
Sure, but I think if Zach Edey's Rookie of the Year on this team, I think there's a reason behind it. I think if this team's bad, I don't think Zach Edey is Rookie of the Year, because I think the way that people say he is, nobody's saying he's going to be
that's what I want.
A superstar that
great
dominates.
Clarification.
He's going to be a helping piece, and that's what would win him Rookie of the Year. I know he's the favorite right now. I'll be shocked if he's Rookie of the Year. I'd probably be shocked if he's top 2, maybe even top 3 in Rookie of the Year.
I would be too, because he's not ball dependent,
right.
And his position, there's just other people that's going to have the ball in their hands so much more and more primary than he.
Absolutely. And I know, weak draft class, and there's not a whole lot of excitement and intrigue with those guys at the top of the the draft. And so, that definitely helps a guy like Zach Edey, who has already gone out there and played in a summer league game and, a double-double and looked good. That definitely helps him. But, I think a lot's going to be answered in the regular season. You're going to see some of those ball-dependent guys be a little more flashy, do a little bit more, and that's what ultimately wins Rookie of the Year.
Can Dalton Knecht be Rookie of the Year and it be a great year for the Lakers?
Oh yeah, I think so. And if he's hitting shots, if he's knocking down threes and kind of filling that role for them, and obviously anytime you have LeBron James on your team, I think you feel like it's a go for it season. And so if he comes in there and kind of what we have talked about kind of the last couple of years with Austin Reeves, if he can go in there and kind of play a similar role where he's just in there, really knocking down shots and, being that scorer for them and that shooter for them, then he'll definitely be in the conversation. I think you'd be talking about a really good Lakers team.
But 1 year ago, Victor Wembanyama, you all but could put his name on the trophy now a year ago. He lived up to it.
Right.
He ran off and hid in the balloting.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs didn't win anything.
No, and that's just and we're gonna see that next year. Cooper Flagg is gonna get to the NBA. He's gonna be on a team that's really bad, and he's gonna win Rookie of the Year running away. And you get stuff like that, and that's the really good generational type players, and those ones the guys that make it exciting when you're a bad team to watch them. There's not a guy in this draft that's like that. Who is really, and it's more probably because of how international those guys are. Who really is sitting here going, man, I cannot wait till Friday when I get my first look at Alex Sarr or we don't even know how to say Richasher, right?
Exactly.
I've heard 50 million different pronunciations. There's just not that guy in this draft, and so that's why I think you're gonna probably see a Rookie of the Year this year. That is maybe flashy, but I think you're gonna see it from a team that's probably play-in or playoff. You're not going to see one of those bottom dwellers that gets a rookie like we saw with the Spurs last year.
If we believed in conspiracy, and we don't.
I do.
Especially me, you kind of do. You just said you did. You admitted you do.
Yeah, sometimes.
You do. So you believe in conspiracy, all right? Well, then you run off with this then.
Okay.
League offices right now,
okay,
getting ready for Flag Mania next year. Where do they want him to land? If there was any allegation of the frozen logo down in the basket that David Stern pulled out for Patrick Ewing, which is ridiculous, but so many thought it was rigged. If they could rig it, where would they place him? Where would they send him to?
I was actually having a similar conversation to this last night.
You were?
And I don't remember if it was to myself or if it was with somebody else, which makes me sound crazy already.
Well, to yourself would really make.
But I think I read something that was like, if this year doesn't go great for the Lakers and LeBron calls it quits after this season and they decide they want to go out and try to trade Anthony Davis and D'Lo, maybe
screenwriters in LA and Hollywood are hard at work.
Maybe you try to make a couple trades and I was talking to Connor about this and
we have a full-blown conspiracy.
Then I started thinking about it and I was like, that would be something if somehow, it would almost be impossible, but to make a trade.
Connor, are you a conspiracist?
Where you would get the first pick.
Of course I am.
Very much so. Okay. Proud conspiracist. Okay.
I was quick. But I don't think he would land. Because here's the thing.
There's two things. The more I say I'm not one, I think I am.
Well,
and the more I hear and I say, and I heard you say, we started the show with, Twitter is not a real place.
Yeah.
The more I think it's real.
That's right. Well, that's the thing. Name me a conspiracy theory on the surface level. I know you can get really deep in conspiracy theories, and some of them are very dark and twisted. But, just regular day in, day out conspiracy theories are fun. Who wants to believe that the moon landing actually happened? Nobody,
Isn't there a new movie out about it?
Maybe.
About it being a hoax?
It could be. I wouldn't be surprised. So, no, I would like, but I think, here's the thing. It's hard to try to make a conspiracy theory around the league trying to plant Cooper Flagg in the ideal spot when there are going to be like 5 or 6 teams at the bottom that are going to be actively tanking this year trying to get him. And so it's almost like you got to find somebody that's going to at least be in the lottery to even make the plan
I've got a
work.
great idea for the lottery.
Okay, please.
and this would take proof it.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Okay.
Every team that's in the lottery, you get one ping pong ball.
Oh,
That's it. You get one.
I like that.
We reach in there for 14,
Oh,
hand
jeez.
it over. We reach in there for 13,
Oh man.
and all the way through. You get one.
Oh man. I would not want the Grizzlies to be in that type of lottery. That would be.
I think that'd be better TV.
It would be. It'd be stressful. You would be on the edge of your seat for every single reveal.
Right, and it takes out those really weighted percentages that there hadn't been a lot of drama lately in the double-digit teams.
No.
They're pretty, like when we watched hockey together.
That's
that
right.
time.
Oh, it was
the
it was
hockey
chalk.
draft.
Yeah, it was straight down the list chalk, which was insane.
as predictable as studio wrestling.
Literally, or maybe unpredictable, because I don't know who would predict that the entire
Right
lottery
through
would go straight chalk. So whichever way you look at
Everybody
it.
gets one ping pong ball. There's
That's right.
14 in the hopper. That's it.
No, that oh man,
You like that?
I like it. I mean, you're right. It would be unbelievable television. I'd have a couple heart attacks probably during it, but it'd be good TV for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't mind that at all. I'm glad you brought up Cooper Flag, because I want to bring up Cooper Flag a little bit later when we're talking NBA. But I did want to, kind of while we had a couple more minutes here before we get to top and not top story, a lot of Tiger basketball news coming out over the last 24 hours.
Scheduling
news, recruiting news, a little bit of everything. Last night, Jason Munns reported that Memphis has picked up kind of an under-the-radar commitment, a guy that I don't think anybody thought would be at Memphis, a guy who had already committed to a new program, UTSA's PJ Carter. He entered the transfer portal after the season, had committed to Rice, but had not gotten to campus yet. And so Memphis continued to work on him and ended up getting him to flip to Memphis. Nothing publicly yet from PJ Carter, but a lot of people now have come out. Jason Munns was the first to come out and say that all of his sources saying that he was committed to Memphis, and that he would be a Tiger next season. A guy, I think, a lot of people hear UTSA and immediately think that was an awful team last year. Why in the world would Memphis want to go out and get one of their players? But this is a guy that shot 40% from three last year, averaged about 9.5 points, 2.5 rebounds last season, and nearly 20 minutes of action. But that 40% is something we've talked a lot about. The shooting for this team, I think you had maybe a couple guys that I think you could rely on for 3-point shooting, but after that, it was a little slim. And so, I know the coaching staff really wanted to get another shooter in, and kind of were looking at every different avenue to try to bring one in. And you look at the transfer portal, very slim on guys that are still available, and so they kind of went outside the box, saw an opportunity where a guy was committed to a school, but was definitely not what the all-in 100% committed, 101% committed that people always post when they commit somewhere. A guy that was still out there kind of looking, and they pounced on it and bring him in. And I don't think this is going to be a starter. Like I said, averaged about 19.5, 20 minutes per game for UTSA last year. I think he'll probably get around that, maybe a little less than that here at Memphis. Is going to be a guy that comes in off the bench and tries to give you some shooting from the bench. But I think a fine pickup and definitely a rotation piece that I think the Tigers can use.
And last year in that game that went to overtime at FedEx Forum, a really scary game, a game won by the Tigers, 107-101 in overtime. He came off the bench in that bench role, 16 minutes, 10 points, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 of 9 from the field. Yeah,
and I think that helps you. If you can get that from him at Memphis, I think it definitely helps you. And Jason Munns pointed it out in his story about the commitment. He knocked down 6 threes in a win over Temple on March 10th, his season high. But also over the last 9 games of the season, averaged 14.7 points per game. So really came on at the end of the season and played well. And if you remember, UTSA won a couple of games late in the season that were kind of head scratchers. How did UTSA pull that one out? And a lot of that had to do with his shooting. So now they'll have 2 scholarships left to play with now. And I saw this as well, kind of in addition, talking about UTSA. The Field of 68's Sean Paul pointed this out on Twitter last night. 11 total wins last year for UTSA, and you look at their top 4 scores that entered the transfer portal from that team, they landed at UCF, Cal, Memphis, and San Francisco. So even though the team really struggled last year, those guys that were impact players for them really made the most of it getting into the transfer portal and went up a level. And he said it in his tweet, Sean Paul did, that these guys are probably going to play lesser roles on these new teams because they're kind of going up a level, but still, good pickups for them and new spots for them. So it's going to be interesting to see what PJ Carter can add to this Tiger roster.
You're right. Down the stretch of the year, they beat North Texas, Tulsa, and SMU.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was late in the season. The American got weird, Brett. And they were a big part of the reason.
And even more weird in Fort Worth.
Yes, it did. That game for the Tigers, not good. But you also
fair or unfair for people to say Penny has put together the AAC All-Star team.
Fair. I think you look at this.
It is.
You look at this roster, and it's a lot of guys from your conference, and I don't.
A lot of guys that we may not have noticed that much of last year.
Sure.
But they were helpful to average teams.
Definitely, and that's why I don't want to say that saying Penny put together an American All-Star team is necessarily a bad thing, because you look at some of the guys that he picked up, I think are really good pieces and are definitely guys that can help and make the Tigers competitive. We talked about it with earlier this week with David Cobb about Bart Torvik put out his first rankings of all the teams and had Memphis 26, and a lot of that is based on the roster that they put together.
Where do we sign?
I signed up for that today. I signed up for it yesterday. I think I'm going to be interested to see how this team comes together, because you hear that about it's a AAC All-Star team, but then you also hear about how this is a much more under the radar class. There's none of the big names. Not a guy coming from St. John's.
You think we're done?
No, I think they could add maybe one more. I know. I don't know if Jason Munz. I'd have to go back and check, and I haven't had enough time. I can look during the break to see if the incoming freshman that played in Portugal last year is counted in his scholarship when he said that there's only 2 remaining, because he's committed but not signed. So I don't know. If there's only 1 scholarship left, I think they might be done. If there's 2 left with Tuck on the roster, I think they might add 1 more guy.
And Brian, haven't we learned, football and college basketball now, you're not really ever done until that school year starts back.
Yeah.
And for basketball, that spring semester, Naquan Tomlin.
Oh, yeah, and that was way after the school year started.
And that was just, out of nowhere.
Sure. And, obviously that was a different situation, but still.
There will be a situation like that for somebody out there in college basketball, that after they get to wherever to start the fall semester, something happens, disenchanted, whatever, and they want out at Christmas time.
Sure. No, absolutely. And we saw that last year here. You had a couple of those freshmen that, first month goes through and they're not playing and they enter the transfer portal. And
does anybody really know the eligibility rules?
No, not at all. We talked about that last week with Kevin Sweeney, because there's a couple guys now they're trying to get an extra year, and they've used all 5 of their season. They're trying to get a 6th year because of this rule the NCAA put out, saying if you missed any time because of the 2-time transfer rule, you get another year of eligibility. And these are guys that missed like 7 games in a season, and they're trying to say, well, I deserve a whole another year of eligibility. So it's all over the place right now with the NCAA. Nobody really knows which way is right.
We got to the bowl game at Ole Miss and had the Clemson transfer play his first game of the year.
That's right, and you're gonna
wearing number two, and people thought it was C.J. Johnson.
That's right.
I'm sorry, not C.J. Johnson, but golly, good player from last year that opted out of the bowl. Not C.J. Johnson. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but
Cedric Johnson.
Cedric Johnson. You're going to see that places now. It's just it's crazy when it comes to rosters and eligibility and transfer portal and when you can transfer, when you can be eligible. I mean, it's a mess, and we thought maybe it would clear up a little bit, but I don't think it's cleared up at all. We need to get to top and not top story, but let me set up today's show. Before we get there, 3:30 we'll talk some NBA, a lot of news, especially some big news earlier today about the U.S. Olympic team. Kawhi Leonard has withdrawn from the team, but they've already named his replacement. So we'll talk a lot of NBA in the next segment. 3:45, we'll talk some NFL. And I posed the question yesterday to Brett and Bo, how many teams can realistically win the Super Bowl this season? So we're going to talk about that.
Keywords there, realistically
and win. So we're going to kind of list our teams that we think can win the Super Bowl this upcoming season. 4 o'clock, John Goen from Timber Trust. He'll join us to talk some golf and make a whole lot of picks this week as we've got 2 tournaments going on. So we'll do that at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel will join us from Big 12 Media Days in Vegas, talk more Big 12, day 2 of Big 12 Media Days. We heard Coach Prime talk earlier today and a lot of other coaches. So we'll talk a lot of Big 12 with Matt at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. At 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Summer is here and it's time to party. 24-foot above-ground pool for $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and robotic cleaners, 20% off. Select in-stock patio furniture, up to 50% off. Play gyms up to $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas 20% off, and 4-person hot tubs only $29.99. Don't forget about the discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while supplies last. So head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Connor producing. He's Brian. I'm Brett. We're Sportstime. We're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to join our show by texting or calling at 901-360-8255. That's at the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk lines. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Gotta turn the pot on, Connor. Tripping.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day. We talked about the first part of it last night. Jason Munns reported that Memphis has added another transfer from UTSA. PJ Carter, he committed to Memphis last night after originally being committed to Rice after playing last year at UTSA. It's been a long road for PJ Carter throughout his collegiate career. He started 2 years at Campbell before going to a JUCO, then to UTSA, then was supposed to go to Rice, now at Memphis. And I think will be a good pickup for a rotation piece, a guy that can come in off the bench and hopefully knock down shots for you. But the other big news from in terms of Memphis basketball came earlier today, and it didn't even come from Memphis. It came from Arkansas State men's basketball 3 hours ago. They tweeted, "Rivalry renewed. For only the third time in 14 years, the Red Wolves will face the Memphis Tigers on December 8th at the FedEx Forum." So we now know another non-conference opponent for Penny Hardaway and this Tiger team. And I really like this one. You know, we've been talking about who would be on this roster. We know a lot of the names of the teams that they'll be playing, and we've talked about it ever since the first opponent was announced that this schedule is going to be really good non-conference wise. It's going to be great, filled with great opponents. We know they're going out to Maui this year to face some really tough competition, and now
Joey Brackett says Arkansas State is the AQ Sunbelt team.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was about to say I love what Arkansas State is doing right now. Last year, they were a much better team and, kind of showed that they were making progress under new coach Brian Hodgson. You look at what he did at Alabama, was a key recruiter for that program and brought in some really big name guys like Brandon Miller. He was the primary recruiter for him, and you saw him last year, not only what he's done recruiting and in the transfer portal, but with that team on the court. I think he is a big-time up-and-coming head coach in college basketball, and I can't wait to see him against the Tigers in the FedEx Forum. I mean, this could be a game. I remember last year, that Arkansas State game, that was a real scare for Memphis early
Arkansas
in that
Little
game.
Rock.
No, I'm sorry, Austin Peay. Not
Austin Peay.
Not Arkansas Little Rock. Austin Peay last year was a scare for the Tigers, especially early in that game. And I think especially where this is, the 8th, you have Mississippi State right around the corner, and some other
better
really
not
tough
overlook them.
non-conference. You can't overlook them, or this one's going to be a scary game. I'm not saying upset alert or anything like that.
I'm not either.
I think Arkansas State's going to bring it to the Tigers, and they're going to be ready to go for that game.
And what I'm getting ready to say, I don't know why it's always deemed such the pejorative or it's a point of ridicule. It is not. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
It will be their Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. It 100% will. I mean, they'll
And
have
I
the
don't
game
know,
circled on the calendar.
Just like when Ole Miss goes to LSU, it's their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know why that offends some when you label the Super Bowl on it. And a lot of times it motivates a team when they hear that. My top story, Yankees in full tailspin. GM joins them out on the road in Tampa. The Yankees' corporate offices are in Tampa, so that's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are glomming onto that. In fact, most of the years that George Steinbrenner owned and ran the team, you would call the switchboard number for in New York City, it would ring to Tampa. And he spent more time there than he did in the Bronx. Al Steinbrenner, though, he's on the road trip. Again, the corporate offices are right there in Tampa as well. And I guess he could cross that bridge to St. Pete and go to the game. But could this be one of those let's just shake things up moves with Aaron Bleepin Boone? 7th year for Aaron Boone. He hadn't been bad, but he hadn't won a World Series.
Nope.
He hadn't won an ALCS. He hadn't been to a World Series. He's only been to an ALCS one time. George Steinbrenner would have fired him years ago. But Hal Steinbrenner hadn't fired him.
Yeah, that's true.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be NBA Summer League. Again, tonight, the Grizzlies will go, and it looks like, at least if you trust the betting site, Zach Edey will play tonight. The player props out for him, the betting specials. I told you last game, Brett, his first game, I was able to get him to record a double-double, 10 or more points, 10 or more rebounds is what it's listed on here, at plus money. For today's game, minus 205 for Zach Edey. So Vegas is not going to. They're not going to let that happen again.
And you can't get anything by him.
No, you can't. But it's going to be interesting to see what he can do tonight. If he can come back after that first game, how impressive he was, and have another impressive game, and see a lot of those other guys that we saw in Game 1, what they can do tonight against OKC. It'd be fun to watch.
And if anybody thinks my not top story is a negative, is a slap at Coach Prime, please stay tuned to Big Number of the Day, because it will explain a lot of things. It'll tie right into it. But for now, my not top story, here comes Coach Prime and his big act for year 2. Last year, he was Mr. September with 3 wins in the month of September, but then only one more the entire rest of the year. Last win for Colorado was on October 7th. But real close in a lot of those games down the stretch. You had a lot of narrow margins. They had a lot of injuries, some player turnover, some discontent. He's trying to figure things out on the fly. This year, though, with a very rugged schedule. They won 6-7 games. That's your prime Liberty Bowl Big 12 rep.
I would definitely be in favor of that.
And stay tuned to Big Number of the Day for the last Colorado Bowl game. They would walk to Memphis. They would ride Ralphie to town.
I would love to see that. All right, I'm excited for your big number, but that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we come back, we'll talk some NBA.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Buster's Butcher at 199 South Highland Street in Memphis. We're a full-service butcher shop offering a curated selection of quality meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. At Buster's, our skilled butchers are also experienced chefs. They'll be delighted to guide you on selecting, preparing, and cooking our fine selection of products. We're like nothing else you can find in Memphis. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com and come see why every cut counts at Buster's Butcher.
Febreze. I'm so ready for this weekend away with my girls.
Hey, hit the road? How about some free gas?
Free gas? How?
Try new Febreze car for some serious freshness and you can win gas for a full year. Visit Febreze.com to learn more.
Say less.
You may not win, but you're gonna have a fresh smelling whip.
Thanks, DJ Fresh. Now how about some music?
Hey, yo, this next one goes out to new Febreze car for giving you a chance to win free gas.
No purchase necessary. Must be 18 to enter M73124 for rules and how to enter. Visit Febreze.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Smoke is our sauce.
What is the Central Barbecue slogan? What are we playing?
Well, I just think that we don't emphasize often enough that even though Central Barbecue offers a variety of sauces at all of their many locations, Central Barbecue's barbecue doesn't even really need the sauce.
We should mention that more often. Central Barbecue doesn't take any shortcuts. The barbecue at Central Barbecue is slow-smoked Memphis style for 24 hours to make it so flavorful you really don't need sauce.
That was my point. Well, boy, do they have great sauces.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to go sauce-free at Central Barbecue. I'm just saying I could.
Again, exactly my point. Look at my copy. It's the first thing I said. You just hijacked the commercial.
See how it feels?
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's already been busy at times trying to get down through Midtown from an earlier crash that slowed it down. Hopefully that'll start to improve on 240 South there at Norris, as it's just that time of day for it to build anyway. Coming out of Midtown, especially I-40 over here westbound, passing Danny Thomas, headed towards the Hernando de Soto Bridge. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Brian Gates.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We have to talk some NBA because a lot going on in the National Basketball Association. But the big news earlier today, Team USA, who will play an exhibition tonight against Canada and kind of ramping up for the Olympics. Late one tonight for us here in Memphis, at least. 9:30 first tip time for that game out in Vegas. It will be on FS1. But earlier today, we learned Kawhi Leonard is withdrawing from Team USA, and he was replaced. The official reporting was that Derek White was the likely replacement, and not an hour later it was announced Derek White would be replacing him. Kawhi Leonard said he wanted to concentrate on getting his knee completely healthy for next season and just to be ready to go for the Clippers. What'd you make of that news, Brett, and then Derek White replacing him?
Well, I'm sad over it because yesterday I talked about some of these Olympic players this year that this will probably be the last Olympic experience for them. I know some may try to hold on and maybe push it for one more, especially with it being in Los Angeles in the United States in 4 years in 2028. I don't know if Kawhi can harbor those thoughts though, because I don't know how much he's got left.
Yeah, that's a good point that I didn't even think about. I mean, there's I think a very realistic possibility that this would probably be it for him, and 4 years is a long time, and with his health and how that body is, and we know just how often it is that he has to miss games because of injuries. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's not able to go 4 years from now.
I would imagine they do have this. I'm sure they probably had Derek White ready if it was a guard or
sure
playmaker type that got injured. I don't know after it starts if somebody got hurt at the Olympics, can you replace them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably guess not, but
I would too.
I really don't know. But I think you're absolutely right. I mean, at least the way it was reported, it made it sound like there was definitely a short list of guys, and those guys knew, hey, you're
and they probably have one ready for the bigger players.
Sure. Now, I was not really thrilled that Derek White was the replacement because I had a perfect replacement for Kawhi Leonard. And very disappointed that I will not get to see that be the replacement for Kawhi Leonard.
And that is?
Cooper Flagg.
Oh, with everything that Leitner, all the heat he took on Dream Team.
I mean, hey, you want the Cooper Flagg hype to start? Throw him out there on the U.S. team.
I think it would be great for the sport.
I think it'd be awesome for the sport. And I think he'd be fine because at the end of the day,
college basketball would love that.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great. Now, the Duke haters would come out in full force, but hey. I
don't think you come out with talons out over being on the Olympic team. I think they would get into their hatred when he.
I think if, as a guy that hasn't even stepped foot on Duke, but he's going to Duke and he's on the U.S. team, I think there'd be a lot of hate coming out.
That's very different than Christian Laettner. Christian Laettner had been a dominant 4-year college basketball player, arguably top 5 or 6 college basketball players ever.
But you put Cooper Flagg on the select team, from at least the highlights, from all the guys talking after those practices, sounds like he fit in very well and belonged and shined. So I say, why not? Throw him out there. You don't got to play him a ton, and get that hype going.
After that, who else you think could have been a possibility?
Oh, I didn't get that far down the list. I think some of those. See, I wasn't familiar with how I still am not super familiar with how like a short list would work. I mean, I didn't know Derek White was just sitting there waiting is kind of how it feels like it was happening.
I mean, how far a list we got to get down for Jalen Brunson?
That's a good question. I mean, I think Jalen Brunson's right there. I think Jaylen Brown's right there. I think those are probably the guys you go to next. But I mean, then you're playing a game of. I think you had to let at least Derek White know, hey, be prepared, because if we need you, we're calling you. I mean, I don't know if you call. I'm sure if you call one of these guys and say, hey, Team USA wants you, they're saying, yeah. But, I mean, you get too far down the list, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said, you know what, it's kind of late in the game, I'm good.
I wonder for the bigs who's plan B for the first one, if one of those the big players got hurt.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know.
Because we're thin at that.
Sure. No, very thin. And I really don't know who they would turn to.
I think somewhere warming up in the bullpen would be Jaren, don't you?
Yeah.
Especially after last summer's World Cup experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that wasn't great.
No, it wasn't. But I do think, like, you look at that FIBA roster that played, I think that would probably be a good at least start to where a short list could form.
Your pool of potential, yeah.
I think those are guys because they're already familiar with kind of the Team USA system and how things work, and obviously Team USA already has their eyes on those guys and has a relationship with them. So yeah, I mean, I think Jaren would be high on that list, and I think I think you would have a little bit of criticism if they were to call him and say, oh, well, when he played in FIBA, but I don't think Team USA would use that as anything. I mean, I think if you're a big that they think can help the team, I think they would call on him. I think with that being said, I think Jaren would be high on that list.
Olympics start 2 weeks from Friday, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So somewhere after next week at SEC Media Days, that following week, the week of the 22nd through the 26th, before opening ceremony, we've got to do our Olympic basketball team.
Oh, man.
For 2028.
Oh, right.
That one time I had on my team for I think Rob and I first did this like in maybe 12 for 16, wherever they would have fallen. Maybe 16 for 20 even.
Okay.
But somewhere in there, he had Shabazz Muhammad.
Oh, man.
And when you quit laughing at that one, here's mine.
Okay.
I had Harry Giles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't
work out.
Yeah, I can't really defend that one. No.
Hard to, isn't it?
Write me in for Cooper Flagg now.
That was 4 years in the future.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot has changed. A lot can change in just a year. A couple months, a lot can change.
We will have our 2028 team.
Yeah, mine will be probably pretty young.
You know who could be on 2028?
John Morant.
John Morant.
That's right.
He sure could be.
Definitely could be square.
I really thought he would be on this one.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously coming
was
off
on his
injury,
way to being.
Sure, he was, and I think injury derailed it. Other things derailed it, but
things happen.
I don't know. I mean, if you realistically look at that short list, if he was fully healthy, I think you're talking, Ja in that mix of guys.
Right, I can go wilder Olympic predictions than I thought Ja would be.
Okay.
So Goff came back in at Rio in 2016. And when did they announce it? Did they announce it a little before the 12 Olympics for 16? I think it was, and it was before. It had been a couple injuries, but here was mine.
Okay.
United States flag bearer and Olympic golfer,
okay.
Tiger Woods, in 2016 at Rio.
Okay.
Didn't quite happen.
Didn't quite work out. And again, a lot of things kind of played into derailing that.
Like Ja, things happen.
Yes, things definitely happen. But no, I'm excited tonight to see Team USA and what they can do. I know, obviously, no Kawhi Leonard. I'm sure.
You have a Canadian roster handy?
Oh, I could definitely get a Canadian roster handy.
I would love to know what we're going against tonight.
It's a good team.
Yeah.
It's a really good team. Let's see. Team Canada basketball roster. Okay, here it is. Is this their roster too? I think I clicked on the wrong thing. Give me a second and I'll have one.
Because Zach Edey could be on Team Canada in Los Angeles in 4 years.
Oh, he definitely. I mean, was supposed to be on Team Canada. Would
have been in Paris.
Yeah, and he decided not. Okay, here's the Canada Basketball and Canadian Olympic Committee have announced the roster for Team Canada's for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, R.J. Barrett, Kim Birch, Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort, SGA, Trey Lyles, Jamal Murray, Andrew Nimhard, Kelly Olynyk, and Dwight Powell. It's a good roster.
Really good. They have
roster.
7 or 8 big-time guys.
Yeah, no, that's a really good roster.
Would you count Dylan Brooks among big-time guys?
Sure, yeah.
I would, too.
Yeah, I mean, I would
Veteran.
definitely name him, yeah.
Been through the wars.
Sure, has absolutely. I mean, I think when
started a bunch of them.
Yes, but I think when you have that much
incited near riots in a couple of them.
He absolutely did. But I think when you're looking at Olympic teams and when you've got a guy like that has so much NBA experience, especially starting NBA experience.
Please, Dylan, don't spark any international incident at the Olympics.
Well, that's a good point. Here's my question.
I kid.
Do we get a DB stare down tonight against Team USA? That was his big thing last year with the Rockets. Do we get him staring down Braun tonight?
Do you play that tonight?
I mean, I don't know. In an exhibition, I would love to see it. There would be nothing I would love more than in an exhibition
Would LeBron
game.
laugh in his face?
I would hope so. But I would love that.
He practically does anyway.
He does. But that would get me fired up about this exhibition even more if we got a DB stare down. So we'll see. But I am excited tonight. Like I said, 9:30 tonight on FS1, Team USA versus Team Canada.
Did you see the official team picture session they were going through?
I didn't see like
and they were spinning the basketballs.
Camera. Oh no, I didn't see that. I saw like some different.
Can you spin a basketball on your finger
for like 2 seconds? I can't spin it for long, but I can get it started.
I would break it would be in somebody's face with me trying to do it. They had one player that could bounce it off his knee back up and keep it on the finger without blinking.
Holy cow. Oh, I'm going to have to find that video.
But shockingly, you know who could not do it? And he says, I can't do it. I've never been able to do it in my entire basketball life. I'm envious of everybody that can do it. I can't spin anything.
I don't know. Who?
It's top 2% hand-eye coordination in the world.
Okay.
Steph Curry. He said,
Really?
I can't do it. He said, I've never been able to my whole life.
That is shocking.
The ESPN reporter, Jeff Darlington, have you ever seen him?
Oh,
he can spin anything.
I haven't seen him spin anything. I've seen
He
him
can spin a chainsaw running.
Holy cow.
It's unbelievable.
And Steph Curry can't. How about that?
Steph Curry said it. I've never been able to. He said it used to make my dad mad at me that I couldn't.
That's great. But yeah.
Can you get the one of the flatter wedges and bounce the ball off of it?
No.
Not for it'd go a million different directions.
You can ask Connor every time we're out golfing. I tried at least once and never.
I couldn't do it if my life depended on it.
No.
Hand-eye coordination was.
No.
I didn't get handed out a lot.
It's fun to imagine I could do it. But yeah, so I mentioned USA basketball tonight against Canada. Monday, they'll play Australia. That next Wednesday, Serbia, South Sudan, Saturday, July 20th, and then Germany, Monday, July 22nd, and then they'll go right into the Olympics.
Any point spread on tonight's game?
Oh, absolutely, Brett. I believe I wrote it down earlier. I'm sure it's changed. USA, an 11.5-point favorite. Brett, call me crazy. I might like Canada tonight. But I can't do that.
Do.
I can't bet on somebody other than America.
No, it even made me pull for Chris Paul one time.
Well, you gotta be patriotic. So I can't. It's actually moved down to 10.5 now. So money coming in on Canada. People thinking like I am.
Look out.
So who knows? Let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the NFL.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
If the woman of your dreams has been searching online for the perfect engagement ring, she's figured out there's a few brand names that are worthy of consideration. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and she doesn't want a plain, ordinary cookie-cutter ring to wear the rest of her life. She wants a world-class designer ring, handcrafted by a true artisan that will hold value and stand the test of time. She's found Tacori, Verragio, Ajafi, Simon G., among other premium American-made designers. But when you try and find these exclusive rings, you quickly realize most stores don't offer them. They have knockoffs and lookalikes, kind of like those imitation bags and watches on the streets of New York City. But there is one jeweler where you can find the real deal, Genesis Diamonds. Genesis has been chosen by all the most sought-after designers. Genesis is your exclusive home for these iconic brand names that define excellence. Other stores can only dream of being able to offer these, but only Genesis has them. So be careful. Don't settle for anything less than the ring she is worthy of wearing. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Hi, I'm April Rose, and we all know about the speed of sound. But have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? If you drive over the speed limit, there are lots of sounds that you might hear. You could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, the sound of first responders desperately trying to save you. You could even hear the sound of people crying at a funeral. Because if you drive over the speed limit, you could do damage that's beyond repair. One way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elmer Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0373. We'll schedule a live
Now back to Sports Time
All right, bro, I know we're going to rank our teams that we think realistically can win the Super Bowl this upcoming season. But before we get to that, I've got to bring this up because last night was the second episode of Hard Knocks offseason with the New York Giants. And I got to say, Brett, I didn't know what to expect going into it. And I like Hard Knocks. I'm a Hard Knocks guy. Didn't know what to expect with the offseason version. It has completely blown me away. I think I might like this Hard Knocks version better than regular preseason Hard Knocks, where you're talking with you're learning about undrafted rookies and guys coming back and all that stuff. I think I like this better than that because we're starting pre-draft process. We're talking about, one of the big things right now is with Saquon Barkley, and we're following the GM Joe Shane through kind of that process of what are we going to do with him, and are we gonna try to franchise tag him? Are we going to offer him? What are we going to do? They went through the draft prep in the last episode last night where we've got clips of them at the combine interviewing players and having, they had the quarterbacks drawing plays and they would throw a play at them and tell them to recite it to them. And then they would ask them a couple other questions and then they'd stop in the middle of a question and go, okay, tell me that play again. And you'll try to get them to
So you learn football from it.
Oh, absolutely.
Good deal.
It is good.
You do not
stuff.
have the Giants on your list, though, do you?
I do not have. Yeah, with that being said, I think actually watching this has me going in the opposite direction of the Giants being able to win the Super Bowl.
They might be in the bottom 8 or 9.
They might be. They are putting a lot of, and I know this is Bo's guy, putting a lot of stock in that quarterback position.
Haven't we given him enough time?
Yeah,
don't we know?
I was never sold on Daniel Jones, but
not at all.
I think especially now.
And the turf monster tackle, it could happen to anybody, but
sure.
It happened to him.
And it's not a good look after it happens. No. I think it
you can't unsee it.
Yeah, it stays with you forever. So no, I do not have them in my team. So Brett, please start us off with your teams that you think can win the Super Bowl. I'm de facto
giving away who I'm probably going to pick to win the Super Bowl with this. But number 1, San Francisco. Yep. 2, Green Bay.
Ooh.
3, Miami.
Whoa.
4, Detroit.
Whoa.
5, the Rams. 6, Cincinnati. And if I had to go 7, I'd go Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers.
Holy cow. Okay, run through those one more time.
San Francisco. Okay. Green Bay.
Okay.
We're that was down to the end last year.
Absolutely.
Miami 3, Detroit. They were at the almost very end. Detroit 4, Rams 5, Cincinnati 6, and if I had to pick a 7th, Chargers.
Holy cow! No Kansas City Chiefs for you.
Nope.
Wow.
Just
time
happens.
Wow. My list much shorter than yours. I shouldn't say much shorter. I think too shorter than yours. 49ers number 1 for me, so we're both there on the 49ers. Chiefs second for me. I think as long as you got Patrick Mahomes, I think you got a chance of winning Super Bowls.
Remember the grumbling early December last year?
Oh yeah, it was, and I think if they hadn't done what they did last year, I would, because I was with that grumbling. But then, you know what? They went out and showed me they can still make it happen, even with people
Can
not
they go to
them.
that whip one more time this year? I don't think so.
It's gonna be an interesting storyline to follow all season.
Everybody being hungry and all going in the same direction.
Absolutely.
Taylor Mania, will that hit like it did last year?
Yeah. Well, that's an even better question and another storyline to follow. So I have the Chiefs second for me. Ravens. I have the Ravens number 3. I think with what they got with Lamar Jackson.
Here's why I can't do it.
Okay.
Love Lamar September, October, November.
Sure.
I got to see him do something in January.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, but I've got a lot of faith in him now with
like
what he's got.
A little something.
Back. Sure, and I'm with you on that. But now that he's got a can't miss running back there, a bruiser that can take a lot of carries and take a lot of hits, and Derrick Henry. I think that's definitely going to open up the offense for him, and I think they've got a good defense. So I have them at 3, and I've got the Eagles at 4. With what they have done in the past, and what they've added this offseason, that defense gets older, and those are my only 4 teams, Brett. I That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I've got those 4, and I think outside of that, I think there are a lot of teams that can get to the Super Bowl. But when I'm talking about teams that, putting money on them to win the Super Bowl today, those are the 4 teams I feel confident about.
So we can't go into the year saying it is wide open to win it. Mm-hmm. We will do another list as the season approaches of who can be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. I like that. My list is, I wouldn't say way deeper, but I would definitely have the Packers in there. I would definitely have the Lions in there.
Just to go.
Sure.
Would you have Dallas in it? Just to go.
I got to see it, Brad. I mean, I'm kind of to that point with the Cowboys. I got to see it.
I think you could almost just easily double a list with just going to the Super Bowl, couldn't you?
Yeah, it definitely it opens up a whole lot more when you're talking about just getting there, and that's just kind of how wild it is. I mean, it's hard to believe that you can have a list that's almost or could be doubled of teams just to make it to the Super Bowl. Brett, when you get to the Super Bowl, you got a 50-50 chance of winning it, and we're saying that it's a very small list for those teams, but a much longer list for teams just getting there.
I think I just gave away my Super Bowl, didn't I? You gave away yours. So your Super Bowl is San Francisco versus Philly.
Run it back, yeah.
Mine's San Francisco versus Miami.
Yeah, how about that? So
Tua.
Oh, I'd like to see it. I like Tua. It's fine, but
got to see him do something in the postseason if you're going to say that about Lamar.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I mean, because with Tua, it's been a whole lot of smoke at the beginning of the season. And
if he plays anywhere and it's under 75 degrees, he's not very good.
No.
And if it's 75 below, he's really bad.
No, he gets comfortable with that warm weather out there. But it's going to be fun as training camp's about to open, and we'll get a better idea on how a lot of these teams will look in the 2024 season. But we need to go ahead and get to a break and wrap up this hour. When we come back, we're talking a whole lot of golf with John Goen.
Sunrise Buick GMC truck. It's our 35th anniversary of Sunrise, and we're celebrating with savings that are bigger than ever. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from with huge savings. It's a used car buyer's dream. Check it out at sunrisememphis.com. Hundreds of used cars and trucks with a lot specializing in cars and trucks under $20,000. Bad credit, it's okay. You're approved at Sunrise. Remember, we specialize in secondary financing. New cars and trucks aren't free, but at least they're affordable at the 35th anniversary sale going on now at all Sunrise locations. Coming from Pike Blue Chase and Collierville.
O'Reilly. Save money today on your next full synthetic oil change at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a $10 gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $35.95. Our professional parts people can recommend the oil change supplies you need at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do summer projects your way with 4th of July savings from the Home Depot. With free delivery on over 2 million items, you can make the most of summer grilling and dig into gardening. Plus, get same-day delivery on thousands of products like power tools and storage to tackle any last-minute garage project. Summer your way with 4th of July savings from the Home Depot. Outdoors get more done. Orders like Tucker at 4 p.m. September.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Check
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and clean quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby. At Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Parkway Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli, it's wholesome food and no surprises.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Despite a couple of EMS calls out here the last few minutes, actually in pretty good shape right now going outbound on Sam Cooper over here by Perkins. It's picked up already at times on 240 East as you work your way past Mount Moriah. Some of that traffic getting off there onto 385 Billmore's Parkway, which actually looks pretty good right now as you head on out towards Collierville. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line to talk some golf, make some picks. John Goen from Timber Trust joins us now. John, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. How are things at Timber Trust?
You know, guys, it's been a week already. It's only Wednesday. You know, we always like to kind of pull the curtain back here a little bit. So, you know, we had our normal annual kind of core aerification this week, and you know, everybody likes to sit here and think about how nice it would be to own a golf course and what we do and all this other stuff. And you know, literally it's been you know, we had our verticutter go down, then we swapped the reels over, and then the hydraulic leak out of a hose on the other greens mower that we were getting ready to use. So we had to stop doing that. Then, you know, I mean, it's just kind of been one thing after another. Unfortunately, we've had some issues with some other pieces of equipment with a roller and, you know, so we've not been able to really get out and do some of those things. So, you know, as much as we want to all think that there is a glamorous life out being a part of ownership of a golf course and involved and everything else. Like everybody else in their daily world, we got to hit the curveballs as they come to us, and we got to figure out how we kind of move through the balance of our day and try to do the best we can to make sure that as folks continue to come out, that we've got the opportunity to provide as good a product as we can and make them feel welcome and be a part of our golf community and try to do the best we can to just kind of move forward. So it's been an interesting last few days, but at the same time, we've been able to get a lot of stuff behind us, and we're obviously in the process of recovery. The rain from the hurricane definitely helped, so yeah, we're moving forward. We've got it in our rearview mirror now, and just trying to get back to overall good conditions on greens, and look forward to the OB Open that we're having next weekend in conjunction with the Open Championship, and kind of go from there. So, but yeah, definitely crazy times right now, and just a lot of stuff that you just can't anticipate.
And unfortunately, John, you'll really know when that hose really burst in about a week, where you see the grass on the green that's dying.
Well, the good part is we do use a bio hydraulic oil fluid that's supposed to help really kind of control some of that stuff. So hopefully it's not going to be substantial by any stretch of the imagination. We caught it pretty early. Matter of fact, I don't even know that we got anything. We might have gotten it on one green, good, realistically, at the end of the green. So, or at the end of the day. So, able to get out ahead of it, which, it's nice to at least kind of catch it sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. John, with turf management right now, and I was talking with a friend earlier today, what they're doing at Mississippi State's phenomenal, isn't it?
I mean, there's so many different places, but obviously Mississippi State being so close to home, you've got an opportunity.
It's pouring them out.
You've got that. Obviously, you got Winstead that's got their, Tennessee Tahoma, that is obviously extremely close between, clearly us and Jackson, just a short little drive, and they're doing some good things with turf grass. It's a constant evolution, and, fortunately we continue to see progression. We continue to have options, with certain things as far as how we want to continue to improve golf course conditions and things along those lines. So, but yeah, no, it's great. And it's good to see the continual investment, the continual improvement, in products that, as we kind of move down the line. I mean, clearly we in the Mid-South, kind of go through these drought stretches, where it's nice to have a plant that's maybe a little bit more drought tolerant, things like that. And then, clearly, putting surfaces, there's a lot of, opportunity there. I mean, I know folks have experimented at times even with going to a zoysia putting surface. There's some dwarf zoysia grasses out there that, I know some folks have kind of toyed around with. And then, as you look down towards the Gulf Coast and even the coast of Florida, stuff like that, they've come up with that paspalum, which is definitely much more of a brackish water. I mean, who'd have thought that you could develop a grass that, enjoys, having some salt water mixed in with it to help it thrive and grow. And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy kind of what's out there and what we're, trying to do to continue to improve golf course products, throughout the country.
What's the best greens to putt on? Not where, just the tops.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that the old school golfer will to this day continue to say that bent grass greens are probably the best to putt on. I mean, so I would think if you're taking a poll of a lot of different folks, I would tend to think that bent grass is probably the top of the list. These dwarf Bermuda grasses, Tiff Eagle, Mini Verde, Champion, like a lot of us have definitely, I think, allowed Bermuda grass surfaces to be, really good putting quality during the brunt of your season. They are not as maintenance free as we all thought they were when we were putting them in, but at the same time, you can still create a really good putting surface and not have to worry about, continuing to syringe greens and do everything you can to maintain the health of bent grass during the summertime. Our nice, hot, warm summers. The best person I probably ever heard of describe, what it's like to have bent grass here in the Memphis area in the summertime was Jeff Ploss, the first golf course superintendent, when I was at TPC. He's like, taking bent grass here in the summertime, you take it, throw it in a pot of boiling water and see how you can get it to live through that cycle. Because at the end of the day, you can't regulate its water. We get all of our thunderstorms and all those types of things around here. You can't regulate its water. You can't regulate wind, and being able to move, some type of breeze across the surface to help regulate the moisture and everything else. And so he's just like, at the end of the day, do you think you can keep a living plant going in a pot of boiling water?
Impossible.
And the answer is ultimately no, and that's why so many of us, if not all,
We
of
spent
us,
a lot of money
part,
learning it, though, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that's been the best explanation that I've ever had with, why we are ultimately moving away from bent grass greens and to Bermuda grass greens.
I heard something very simple. I heard that if you had the green side fans, then that should tell you it's too hot to have bent.
Yeah, no, there's definitely. We're dealing with a couple of things right now where I'm going back through some breaker boxes and going fan. I'm like, hold on, fan. There probably hadn't been a fan on this golf course in well over a decade, for crying out loud. But clearly back in those days, I remember when I first got to Southwind. Having fans along the greens just to create some air movement, just to kind of help with moisture and things along those lines. So yeah, definitely interesting. And at the end of the day, having to keep your heights up in the summertime, which is your prime golfing conditions, but you're having to protect everything from that perspective, and the only way you can really do that is to keep the height of cut up, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Talking to John Goen from Timber Trust. He joins us to talk some golf and make golf picks. Yesterday, Keegan Bradley was named the Ryder Cup captain. What did you make of that selection? I know a lot of people for a couple of months has been kind of throwing Tiger out there, and so maybe a little bit of a shock. Keegan Bradley's the captain. What did you make of that selection?
Had to ask that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Same.
I don't like that pick.
I don't either.
I don't like the fact that Keegan Bradley is the Ryder Cup captain. I don't know whether it's the PGA of America trying to make up for leaving, him being left off, when he probably should have been on the team a year ago. But I don't see, you want leaders in those roles. You want guys, and granted, Keegan is extremely fiery, but I think without a lot of support, and what I mean by that is I think Keegan's going to have to lean into the guys who have been successful in those positions, and mainly when you truly think about, back through the cycles. A guy like Paul Azinger needs to really be available to a guy like Keegan from just an overall knowledge, support. This is how we did what we did. And I know Paul came out with a book about the Ryder Cup at Valhalla, but, I think that there have got to be some guys, some veterans that are available to him, and I'm sure there will be. But the other side of that, too, is I really think the PGA of America has to rethink this whole philosophy of a PGA champion has to be a Ryder Cup captain. It's been that way for decades, it feels like, and, I don't think that should be part of the measuring stick of what makes a Ryder Cup captain kind of going forward. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, clearly he's already in that position, and hopefully, things will kind of work. Clearly, though, he does have an advantage that it is a home soil Ryder Cup. Clearly we've performed a little bit better on home soil than we have on away soil in recent history. So, he has all the opportunity in the world to be the hero in this situation, but he also has, I think, a huge amount of weight on his shoulders to where, if they do potentially lose this thing, that, he also turns into the GOAT rather quickly. And, just due to lack of experience and things along those lines. So he really needs to be open to the live guys. And he kind of made a comment about that in his press conference the other day. But I mean, clearly based off of performance and everything else as of late, if Bryson DeChambeau and some of these other guys are not on this Ryder Cup team, then, we've got some bigger issues. But, at the same time, too, who knows what golf's going to look like by the time the Ryder Cup happens next year.
Great point. Great point. By
this
next
could
fall,
all be a moot point as we're beating this guy up right now. So
yeah, John, there was a time, long time ago, that winning the PGA Championship automatically puts you on the Ryder Cup team. I think in '91, when John Daly came out of nowhere to win at Crooked Stick to win his PGA Championship in August of '91, that was the first year as they were headed to Kiowa that didn't automatically put the PGA champion on the team. And there was even a push to kind of rescind that and put John on there because it was so popular. He was such good TV ratings.
Well, heck, could you imagine a Ryder Cup team showing up in camouflage like they did at Kiowa? Nowadays, I couldn't fathom. They show up in battle fatigues because desert storms going on at that point.
Right. Mark Calcavecchia led it.
They
His
are
idea.
full on camoed out. Going to show up for a Ryder Cup event in Kiowa Island.
I don't think you can get them to go out to eat together.
It'd be anarchy.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like there's anything close to that collegiality in the different team rooms. With Ryder Cup talk today, a great Ryder Cup player of all time, Rory McIlroy. Rory never has that bad Rory moment in any Ryder Cup, does he?
Does any European person have that bad Ryder Cup moment outside of Bernhard Langer at Kiowa in '91?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's the worst. That's the worst Ryder Cup moment for a Euro that I can ever recall. I was.
It may have been Colin Montgomery's
at that point.
Best golf ever. It was in Ryder Cups.
Oh, he was a much better Ryder Cupper than he ever was a major, champion player at that point in time. Yes, he finished runner-up. Once or twice in a major, but the Euros absolutely thrive in Ryder Cups, and it's crazy how they can perform there, but they don't historically perform well in majors.
Sergio, I know he won the Masters, but somewhere on his Golf Hall of Fame resume is going to be just how steady he was in Ryder Cups. John Goin with us from Timber Trust Golf. He's on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. We're waiting for next week for the Open Championship. We have the Scottish Open Championship this week. John, you said something earlier this year about here for us in the United States. We'll go on a big golf trip over there, and we will play in anything. We'll play with gloves on both hands, turtlenecks, long handles. We'll play in the wind and the rain because it's over there. We don't dare do it here. If it's one sprinkle, we turn around and go home.
Oh, absolutely. Rain check? Can I get a rain check?
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't even need to be raining to be looking for a rain check. I'm having a bad round of golf or whatever, and I just got to get out of here. But it's extremely comical. And of course, even course conditions completely different over there than here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at how our golfers here in the States have become extremely spoiled with course conditions and things along those lines. And you go over there and you'll play on anything. Knowing you've got to land at 10 yards short of the green to be able to bounce it up there. Here, if you land at 10 yards short of a green, you're like, what's the problem here?
Yeah, where's the superintendent?
the stemp meter over there is like 8 or 9. Over here, if it's not like an 11 or 12, it's anarchy. I mean, it's extremely comical, the differences between what we are willing to deal with being overseas and playing golf versus what we want to deal with here, when we're at home and in the States.
Yeah. Have you ever played on a trip over there at the Renaissance Club? Or they say
played at the Renaissance Club.
You have?
No. I've not, no.
Okay.
My one and only trip to this point over there has been 2 days at Carnoustie, a day at the Duke's course, a day at the Castle course, Kings Barnes, the Kings course at Glen Eagles, and then fortunately being able to play the old course.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
No.
It wasn't terrible, and we only played 9 holes in what I would deem to be more of a mild rain to just maybe more misty than anything.
What was your favorite?
Well, I'll be honest, Kings Barnes was really good, like really good. Probably a sleeper, although it's not really a sleeper amongst a lot of folks nowadays. Kings Barnes has probably become one of the best golf courses that you can visit when you go over there. And, obviously the nostalgia of walking the old course in the afternoon. So we played 18 holes at the Castle course in the morning, and then we were on the afternoon wave at the old course, teed off at, late in the day and finished, right as the sun was setting. But just to be in downtown St. Andrews. We stayed just a little outside of town so you could look down into the city. But extremely nostalgic from that perspective. And then, of course, walking across Swoken Bridge and things along those lines with everybody. And it was pretty special. But, Kings Barnes, probably golf course-wise, if you're looking at just golf course, not historical, Kings Barnes was a pretty impressive golf course to be able to play.
Yeah.
Right on the water too.
Mm. Well, I guess we got to make picks. 2 tournaments this weekend
from Kentucky to Scotland.
World. That's right, spanning the globe, I guess. Which one should we start with?
Let's start in Kentucky. All John, right. You have about an 8 million lead. You go. You have the final pick. Connor will have the first pick at Keene Trace Golf Club in Kentucky.
Shan Kemp.
Shan Kim goes first. I'll go with Crimson Tider, Robbie Shelton.
Robbie. I'm going to go with the Fish, Patrick Fishburne.
All right, John.
I will go with Luke Clanton.
Now, with the proviso, if he wins 0.
Maybe a win,
because he's an amateur? Seriously,
Yep.
We're going to go with that as an amateur?
Maybe a win,
I mean,
though.
he's on the list.
We do it by money, don't we?
Here we go. Here we
Hey,
go.
maybe a win.
All right.
I mean, I'm leading with wins.
All right, I'll take Carson Young then, if that's how we're doing it.
Carson Young.
Look, I'm not an amateur. Just because I happen to pick him if he wins the golf tournament for crying out loud.
I mean, he'd
doesn't
get
mean
0.
If I can bet on him for crying out loud.
It's fair.
All right, if he came in first, it would be easy. We'll just give him first place money. If he came in 19th, how'd I know what to give him?
That's a good point, Brett. You make all the great points, Brett. Like the way where your head's at.
I like how when Bryant picks up the phone today, he's like, I'm going back-to-back W's in 2 events. I'm like, that'll get you within maybe $6 million.
I got the Fish.
I mean, you're officially toying with us now when you want to take somebody that can win you 0.
Yeah, why not?
Well, I picked, back-to-back times. One time he backs out of the thing, the other time he misses the cut, and I think I might have still won the week money-wise. I can't remember completely.
Right, how good would it have been if I let John John keeps him.
Look, I've had really good weeks only picking one person that can actually enter in a field.
And then Luke Clanton wins, and I sent him the update Sunday night
with
of
0.
0.
A little goose egg in there. I mean, I would have liked
all right.
it.
All right. So I'll take Carson Young just so I can figure out a way to potentially not win any money.
Sam Ryder.
All right.
Speaking of Ryder Cup, Sam Ryder, give me Brandon Wu.
All right.
I love how excited Brian is in this whole thing. I don't.
Because I'm so
I don't even know the
excited.
excitement right now.
He's almost the laugh track, isn't he?
I'm so excited about my picks. I mean, I get Fish
Go
with my
ahead.
first pick and old Cuckoo Pearson Cootie with my second pick.
I think his dad won a PGA championship,
that?
didn't he? Didn't Charles Cootie win or maybe a Masters?
Well, Cuckoo.
John, your
I
second
think he
pick.
did. I'll take Troy Merritt. How about that?
Okay, I know who he is. All right, to
Right,
Scotland
exactly.
we go.
One of the few. I don't know anybody that we just picked outside of Troy Merritt. How about
I don't
that?
either, and it's always the hardest money to find where the results
Right.
are on Sunday night. All right,
$28. That's what it's going to turn into really quick.
to the Renaissance Club we go. Connor, your first pick.
I got Ludwig Aberg.
That is really good. That was going to be a lot of people's first pick, I think. That leaves me with Victor Hovland.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Right?
I'm going to go with the guy Brett almost went with, Xander Schauffele. I heard it coming off the lips.
It was close. It was close. John?
Oh man, do I really do this? So okay, I for clarification,
Yeah, you take
because I
Robert.
don't recall. I don't really recall in the whole grand scheme of all this. Is it two of anybody now, or is
That's
it
right.
one?
Two
and
of
then
anybody.
outside of the two
No,
of
two
anybody?
of anybody the rest of the way.
Okay, I'll take the choking dog himself.
All right.
Okay, roars. Everybody knows
Because
who you're
I mean,
talking about.
clearly he had to go get his head right in New York City, which I'm not quite sure how many people do that, but I mean, in his situation, it might have worked.
Hey.
Got to go get the head right factory place. All right, Connor.
Tom Kim.
TK.
Oh, the guy who didn't get into the field, except he got a sponsor exemption because he missed being able to get into the field.
Hey, maybe that's all he needs. You never know.
Might be a week too soon, but I'll take Colin Morikawa.
Oh, one more cow.
All right.
Let's see. I will take Tommy Fleetwood.
Going local.
Oh, man, here we go.
That's
here
a
we
next
go.
week pick, too, isn't it, John?
That's a next week. No, Tommy Fleetwood.
John
no.
wanted Tommy Fleetwood.
I really
could hear it
didn't.
in his voice.
No, not in a million years. I've toyed around with, do I take Brett's guy, old Bob McIntyre?
Oh, Bobby Mack.
The sweet swinging
because
lefty.
Old Bob, I could, Bob kind of, should have won maybe last year if Rory didn't rally on him. But I will take Thomas Dietrich because I feel like that he's got some momentum.
Thomas Dietrich. I know you got momentum down at Timber Trust. Tell our listeners how they can get involved in tomorrow's scramble and this weekend and all the play.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean, obviously, like we said earlier, I mean, we've kind of gotten through our normal annual, course verification, things along those lines. Golf course is definitely in recovery mode right now, but should be pretty good by the weekend. Plenty of opportunity to be able to play. Things are good right now from a weather perspective. Looks like it's going to be a little warm, but heck, it's July for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So to be able to book tee times, you can visit us timbertrustgolf.com. Or you can call us 662-895-3530. Obviously, we are sold out for OB Open next Saturday, but the Boondoggle is coming up in August. That's our 2-day event. It's a 2-man scramble that will be flighted after day one. A lot of fun. Like I said, 2-day event, and should be plenty of fun to be able to come out and experience the golf course right after everybody's kind of going back to school that first weekend, the 10th and 11th of August. So, again, follow us on social, on Facebook and Instagram at Timber Trust Golf Course. Everything's posted there. Links to be able to sign up for events, things along those lines. Tomorrow night, obviously, the 2-man kicks off the weekend. You can call us 662-895-3530 to be able to sign up for tomorrow night. We've been selling out the last few weeks. Might be a little light with the aerification, but I saw earlier today that there were some folks definitely signing up on the early side. So we'll look forward to tomorrow night to kick the weekend off early.
Well, John, enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you again next Wednesday. Forget
All
my
right,
days.
guys. Take care. Enjoy golf
Thank you,
this
John.
weekend. Get up early, watch the Scottish Open.
That's right.
We
Thanks,
will.
John.
Thank you, John.
Got so excited about my picks in the in Kentucky that I forgot what day it was.
Yeah, the Kentucky picks were quite a list.
Can't
weren't
wait. I can't wait.
I
to
do
watch
like
that
Sam
one.
Ryder for Connor, though.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. I don't know if it's better than Patrick Fishburne, but we'll see. We'll see how the weekend plays out. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk some baseball.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And we cut the size. Because just like taxes and BS, we think metal is better than cut. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or shop online at metalsupermarkets.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway and the Parkplace Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Most of the major outbound routes have really picked up just in the last 15-20 minutes, like 240 east from Mill Branch all the way out to 385. We've seen TDOT out here in those help trucks assist a couple of disabled vehicles in the last hour or so over there on 240 around Poplar. Still holding up right now as you head south of Memphis on 55 down into DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk some baseball. Already a couple of finals today in Major League Baseball. Cardinals and Royals making up the game from from last night. And Cardinals looked good early in this one, up 3-0. Looked like they were rolling.
And then that was it.
And left
Kansas City starter got locked in
then. And kind of tried to let Palante work a little bit, which, hey.
He's been pretty effective.
He's been great, and I was fine with them letting him work. I needed him to go 6 innings, and he did. But he gets the loss because that big inning, he gives up 3 runs, gives up another run in the 6th inning. They tack on 2 more in the 8th inning and get a 6-4 win over the Cardinals. They'll play a second game later tonight about 6:45. We'll see if the Cardinals can bounce back. Twins and White Sox, they've already got 1 game in the books. They were another rain out from last night. And look at the White Sox, a 3-1 win over the Twins. They score all their runs in the 5th and 6th inning, and now they're already back out there playing their second game. And right now, the White Sox with a 1-0 lead through 2 innings. So maybe White Sox can pull some doubleheader magic today against the Twins. We'll have to wait and find out. Pablo Lopez on the mound for the Twins, so a good pitcher they're going up against, and already with a run. But a good slate tonight. Already 2 fun games to watch in the books, and we'll see, I think, some more good games later tonight.
17 games today in Major League Baseball, 15 single games and 2 doubleheaders.
Yeah.
So everybody going with 2 playing doubleheader. The Cardinals in that first one, Palante had to eat it. Even a little bit struggling because, remember, got a doubleheader this weekend against the Cubs.
That's right.
Same for Gordon Graceffo tonight in Game 2. If he's getting blasted in the 2nd inning, you're going to have to hang around to the 4th minimum no matter what, because just don't want to chew up all the bullpen before a very important series this weekend to close out before the All-Star break and against your biggest rival.
Yeah, no, so this weekend is definitely big, and, I know they're able to get it in with a doubleheader today, but you hated seeing that rain yesterday, especially with how kind of this schedule plays out before All-Star break, where now you're going to have to play a doubleheader today. You get tomorrow off, but then kind of a weird weekend against the Cubs with a doubleheader in there on Saturday. So, they're going to need all the arms they've got, and you're right, Palante kind of got the short end of the stick today. Started off good and was pitching well, and then things kind of came apart in the 5th inning, and they were just had to leave him out there. And I thought was able to kind of get back to doing his thing, and only gave up 1 run after that. But ultimately, it was enough for the Royals to get some momentum and finish that game with a whole lot of it and win that one. So I think Cardinals were favored for both of these games today. So we'll see if they can bounce back tonight and get a win.
Back to my big story of the day: the Yankees and upper management, the brass, including the owner Hal Steinbrenner, in St. Pete for the games against the Rays. Big deal, no big deal?
I don't think it's a huge deal.
Does it get bigger if they lose tonight and then close out before the break looking pretty ugly against the Red Sox?
I still don't think so.
I'm sorry, the Orioles.
I still don't think so. I think what they've built, I think, is enough for right now to not make me worried. Now, I think we get closer to playoff time, and especially in the playoffs, then I think you're on red alert. But I think right now it's not a huge deal. Obviously, they're struggling. They have not looked like anything like anybody thought the Yankees would look at any point this season. But I don't think it's anything too big of a deal.
Did I hear correctly? They haven't stolen a base like in 24 games.
Whoa, is that right? That is that's wild if that's true. I mean, what surprised me though,
and this is the year of a lot of people easily stealing bases.
You're right, but I mean, you look at that.
It's back.
You look at that team, and there's not a whole lot of guys that jump out to you as that's a bag stealer right there.
Pretty big lumbering, swatted over the boards team.
Let's see. Oh my goodness. They have not stolen a lot of bases at all. Volpe leads the team with 15 stolen bags.
I wouldn't have thought it was that high.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But, I mean, after that, your next highest is Aaron Judge with 5.
Don't you have to be a base-stealing team? They're begging you to, aren't they?
They're begging you. 37 total stolen bags for the Yankees right now. That's crazy.
I knew. I heard it's just a real drought they have.
Yeah.
But they don't try it much. They're waiting for the 3-run homer.
That's right. I mean, they've got the big bats that you trust that.
I mean, why run into an out with Aaron Judge coming up?
Exactly. I mean, you look at that roster, and there are plenty of guys that can come up and get an extra base hit, and you don't really have to worry about that steal. But yeah, I mean, I think things are weird right now with the Yankees. But right now an underdog tonight on the road against the Rays. Marcus Stroman versus Zach Eflin. So we'll see what happens tonight. But
I picked the Yankees to win the American League East. I picked them to win the American League.
Yeah.
I picked the Yankees to win the American League every year because
Mm-hmm.
I picked the Cardinals and the Yankees in the World Series every year.
Sure.
But I really believe the Yankees. I didn't believe the Cardinals.
Wow.
I really believe the Yankees, and I think they're shocked that after the start they had that they're in this position.
Yeah, no, I don't know how you couldn't be shocked. With how they're playing right now,
Baltimore's that good, and
Sure.
here comes Boston.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of the teams, around them in their division, and I think it gets a little nervous because I don't think before the season started you thought, oh, we're really going to be in it this year with the Baltimore or Boston, is really going to give us trouble. The Rays, I know they're.
And Boston was the opposite of the Yankees
That's right.
start.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I saw Boston, almost 2 months ago now in St. Louis,
Yeah.
except for Rafael Devers, none of those players impressed me.
Right. I mean, and now 10 games over 500. It's kind of
That manager impressed me. He's a better manager than Boone.
I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody in New York, Yankees fans, thought that they'd be sitting here and talking about, oh man, Baltimore, Cleveland is better than us right now in the standings. Minnesota is not far behind us. Boston is not far behind us. I think they thought it was going to be easy. I think they thought that they were going to be sitting at the top and filing behind us, and that's hadn't been the case all season.
Now have to hang on to that fourth seed, and that's home field in the playoffs in the wild card round.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there's definitely
And that's not a guarantee of that.
No. So there's definitely work to be done for them.
But a guarantee if they run into Minnesota in the postseason, they will win.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, you look at it, and we were talking about it. What was it? A couple weeks ago. I mean, it was not long ago. We were talking about Yankees, playing good ball, and it's next time they play a meaningful game is going to be in the playoffs. And now
now they're scrambling.
You look up, and you're going to have to play some really important baseball to really secure spots, and so like you said, secure that home field. So no, it's definitely getting a little worrisome with the Yankees, but I don't think too big of a deal.
I want to take a little bit of victory lap the other day over Jackson Merrill in the All-Star team, and me having picked him in the preseason as my National League Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't I? I mean, I could be fairly accused of that.
Sure.
You want to hear the rest of my National League awards in the preseason?
Brett, I would love to. I'll even pull up mine. I got to find them.
I don't know how my Braves friends would speak to me after this.
Ooh.
MVP, Ronald Acuna.
Ooh.
Cy Young, Spencer Strider.
Now that you're saying it, I do remember a lot of Braves on there. Yep.
Manager of the Year, Ollie Marmol. Rookie of the Year, Jackson Merrill. First manager fired, Bud Black. No manager. And why would the Rockies or anybody else after the break do it until you got right up maybe even to September to let the guy go on his way?
There's no point. I mean, there's no team out there that's going to do anything to turn it around or.
What would it do firing Pedro Grifol for the White Sox? What would that do? What would that accomplish?
Nothing at all. I mean,
pound of flesh.
Sure.
We got you. Probably an organizational guy, well liked.
Yeah,
been up through their system for a long time.
Sure.
Why do that to him?
No, it makes no sense at all. I mean, I don't see it. But I'll be honest. My preseason picks are not any better than yours. I mean, they're exact. Mookie Betts, my MVP. Now, obviously not season-ending injury for him, but
he still
injured.
could.
Yes, he could, but right now out. Cy Young tried to swing for a home run ball. Yuri Perez. I mean, season-ending. Tommy John. Second week of the season?
Look what we did to Strider and Yuri.
Yeah, we're the reason, Brett.
I don't think so, but pretty bad luck, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's that's bad luck for sure.
American League Rookie of the Year, Wyatt Langford. Okay,
Yeah, that's good. That looks good right now.
Cy Young, George Kirby with Seattle. You tried to walk me away from that one a little.
I tried to get you away from that.
Jordan Alvarez MVP. It's not going to happen, but it's still a lot of time left. Manager of the Year, Scott Cervais. I don't know about that either.
I don't feel great about it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's hey, but that's why we do them way before the season, and for the most part, we forget about them and never speak of them again until one random Wednesday when we want to bring them back up.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with it. No, I'll take it.
Mariners are like a lot of teams. It's just no punch at all to them.
No, not at all. And I mean, bats looked good last night against San Diego. Julio had a good night. He's been
San Diego's a little punchless.
Yeah, San Diego really struggled. Cal Raleigh, big dumper. He hit 2 home runs. So I mean,
you had to get that in, didn't you?
Had to. I don't think you can say Cal Raleigh's name without saying big dumper.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the mix, it's a great nickname. Maybe the best nickname in baseball right now. But yeah, so I mean, there's just a lot of teams out there right now that just really struggle at the plate, and I think Mariners right in the front of that. Just night in and night out, just really, really bad at the plate. So, but you mentioned it. It's going to be a really good night of baseball tonight. I'm excited for a lot of these games. We've already got one game going on right now, part of that doubleheader. I mentioned it earlier. White Sox and Twins going today. And White Sox up 2-0, bottom of the third. So we'll see if they can keep that momentum going over the Twins.
They went back-to-back in their doubleheader.
No, yeah, right.
Old-fashioned.
Yes. Get one in.
Not even reach off the field.
Back out there now.
Play ball, boys.
Yeah, Cardinals a little different. They're just going to go with their regular start time for today at 6:45. Let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, and I'm so glad. I thought I was going to have to make you go first because I was scrambling trying to find my big number because I saw it last night. I thought I saved it, but then once I was trying to pull it up, I started second guessing
I didn't blow it with the
myself.
Yankees stolen base deal.
No, not at all. Not at all. Mine does come from Major League Baseball, though, and I really like. When I saw it last night, I was at Topgolf, just scrolling through Twitter, saw this, and I said, yep, there it is. That's my big number for tomorrow. I mean, sometimes
y'all just over there refining your games at Topgolf, and there it is.
And there it is, my big number for tomorrow. So 1 is my big number, or maybe 3, whichever you want. Cal Raleigh, the big number, became the first Major League player to homer from both sides of the plate in a state, which it was California, that starts with the first 3 letters of his first name. So California, C-A-L, Cal Raleigh, C-A-L. Only Chili Davis and Milton Bradley have done it in a city that starts with the first 3 letters of their first name.
Milwaukee.
Chicago and Milwaukee. And Cal Raleigh became the first Major League Baseball player to do it with
Cal
a
Ripken
state.
didn't.
California, that's right, yeah.
Wow.
How about that? So, saw it last night. I said I got
Did not see a Milton Bradley reference coming today.
Well, how about that? You got it. So
Right up there with Pearson Cootie.
Cootie.
With the golf.
Can I be
picks.
honest? Didn't know his father was a golfer. That was news to me. So
Did you know he's got a twin brother?
News to me, Brett. Just saw the name, saw some stats about him, said, all right, I like it.
I think Charlie Cootie's their dad.
I mean,
I think that's right.
I don't know many Cooties out there, so
Yeah.
I would
There
say
was
you're
an
probably,
Orville Moody and a Charlie Cootie at the same time on the tour in those days.
And I don't even know. Pearson Cootie was the guy
Yeah.
picked. So I'm gonna look him up, and we'll double check everything and see if.
Check out his dad while I give my big number. My big number, remember, I promised for anybody I made mad about Coach Prime to come back to this. My big number is 14. 2 coaches over 4 years before Coach Prime became the head coach in Boulder, and they had won 14 games. That's it.
Wow. Holy cow.
We got to remember what he took over.
That's a good point.
Colorado was really bad. Last bowl win for Colorado 20 years ago.
Whoa.
Over UTEP.
Whoa.
In the FurnitureGallery.com Bowl in Houston. Not the Texas Bowl that they have now. It's something even worse than that. The last big name bowl win for Colorado after the 95 season, they won the Cotton Bowl over Oregon with Rick Neuheisel as head coach.
Wow.
So that's what he inherited. That's the job he got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, we knew it when he was announced as the head coach of Colorado. We were all talking about, man, at least Colorado's doing something flashy, and it will get attention to him because it's Deion Sanders. But that has not been an attractive job, and they have not been good in recent years. And so
I'm gonna go through a schedule, and you tell me W's or L's.
All right.
North Dakota State.
I'm gonna
frightening, scary game.
Oh, and Deion even said that today. He
did.
He made a joke.
Said,
he was
Rick George, man, help me out.
Give us a layup for the first game. I'm gonna say win, but
I will too.
I think definitely on upset alert.
At Nebraska.
I'll say win as well, but that's another tough one.
I will too. And if Nebraska loses that, here comes nobody can do it. Stories.
Definitely.
And they've been done a million times. At Colorado State.
Win. Wow, we're doing the hype again this year. If they go 3-0, I mean we're doing it again.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm 3-0. Home against Baylor. I'm 4-0.
Win. Yeah.
At UCF.
I'll say win. Why not? We're rolling.
We're both 5-0 for Coach Prime to start. Here we go. Water finds its level.
Okay.
Home against Kansas State.
Loss. Yeah, it's a loss.
At Arizona. L.
Yeah, it's a loss.
Home against Cincinnati.
Oh man, I'll give them a win in that one.
I do too. We're exactly the same.
Are.
At Texas Tech.
I really don't know anything about Texas Tech this year. I'll give them a win. I have no idea about Texas Tech this year.
I'm going to say loss, but
okay, sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Home against Utah, L.
Yeah, it's a loss.
Versus Kansas in Kansas City.
Yeah, it's an L, yeah.
I agree.
I'll take Kansas.
And home against Oklahoma State.
That's an L.
right, if you're right on Texas Tech at 7-5.
Yeah.
Otherwise, 6-6.
That's the sweet spot for Liberty
Sure
Bowl,
is.
Brett.
For the Liberty Bowl.
I would love that.
Came here back-to-back years, 69 and 70. Haven't been back since.
Yeah.
Played Bama in 69 and Tulane in 70.
Now, the thing about if Colorado comes to the Liberty Bowl, let's say that all plays out and they're your Big 12 representative in the Liberty Bowl, doubt you see Shedeur Sanders and I doubt you see Travis Hunter, but you'll see Dion and the rest of that team.
You're right. You're right. They would have a lot of opt-outs, and I said, their fans would really be excited, but we know the limitations because of construction.
That's another good point. With the Liberty Bowl, going to be a lot of reconstruction this year, so limited seating and all of that. But hey, I'd be thrilled if Colorado was the team.
Colorado, Auburn, Colorado, Arkansas.
I'd be cool with that. I'd definitely be cool with that. Yeah, I can get behind that. Definitely. I know we're about to talk Big 12 Media Days in our next segment with Matt Murschel. How much did you catch today of Big 12 Media Days?
A bunch. A lot of Coach Prime, but also a lot of the replay of yesterday of Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
If you just read those quotes, they come off pretty radioactive,
of course,
don't they?
Absolutely.
When you see him make them, again, I want to see people and their tone and context. I think Brooks Koepka is the number one player out there in sport.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't watch what he says, if you just read it, you go, what a royal jerk.
Yeah.
Then when you see him say it, he's not jerky-fied at all.
Right.
Same with Mike Gundy about the DWI with Ollie Gordon. We will talk with Matt Murschel about it because, and of course, it inflames so many. There are a couple guys out there, and they're older guys. They're set in their ways. But Kirk Ferentz, Dabo Swinney, and Mike Gundy, they can say good morning, and some of the little wokesters can get really mad over it.
Yeah. No, you're definitely
and some
right
big
about that.
wokesters.
Sure, no, absolutely. So we'll talk some Big 12 Media Days on the other side with Matt Murschel. A lot going on today. Day 2 in Las Vegas of that Big 12 Media Day. So let's get to a break and wrap up this hour. And when we come back, Matt Murschel, he'll join us talk the Big 12.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving. For retro cruiser styling packed with modern innovations, riders of all skill levels choose a Honda Rebel. Incredible motorcycles with a stripped-down style and a full package of features. Both the 300 and the 500 offer compact power inside a lightweight frame. Combined with a low slim seat, the Rebel is easy to start on. And with new colors for this year, they are impossible to ignore. Go to DeSoto Honda to check out the 2023 Honda Rebels. Cruisers with timeless style and performance to enjoy every second. Use the street as a racetrack with the law with the owner of
If you want a great experience, you need to go to Genesis.
Meet Kendall Wammel, who shopped several other jewelry stores but ended up at Genesis Diamonds with a bigger, better quality diamond for less.
Based on what I had seen elsewhere, I didn't know that this size diamond would be possible for me to have on my finger.
Are you ring shopping? Genesis Diamonds has one of the nation's largest selections of GIA-certified diamonds at the guaranteed best prices, bar none.
You're going to get the most value for your dollar at Genesis Diamonds. You're going to get the best customer service in town and probably in the entire state.
And that's what Kendall really loved, the personal attention, the relaxed environment, the no-pressure shopping experience.
This jewelry store was like home. It wasn't walking into corporate America. Nothing's a sales pitch here. It's all genuine. They're like a family.
Genesis Diamonds.
There would be no reason that I could ever think of that you would not go to Genesis first. And if you leave Genesis and try to shop around, you will come back to Genesis.
Memphis's direct diamond importer at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Jenkins Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is Jay Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of fuel.
Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is Jay Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of fuel.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown. And in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Quite a bit of traffic trying to get out of the Midtown area. Some would say right on schedule. They're on 240 southbound at South Parkway. It's been pretty crowded over here, but moving on 240, actually east and westbound at times over here at Mill Branch, especially eastbound headed out to 385 Billmores Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry right here in Memphis. They specialize in bridal ring purchases. They've been around since 1984. Shop and save local here with Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios and Big 12 Media Days. It's going on right now in Las Vegas. They're wrapping it up today, a 2-day media days from Las Vegas for the Big 12. And joining us to talk about everything that's happened in Vegas, Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel joins us now. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Brett Yormark kicked off the day yesterday with his comments and really kind of spanned the globe when it came to Big 12, with topics like the teams entering the conference, bowl participation, and also the idea and the rumors that we heard earlier this offseason about selling the conference naming rights or even private equity. What did you make of everything that he had to say yesterday? What was your biggest takeaway from the commissioner?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me was, this is a league that 3 years ago was, near death, so to speak. A lot of people thought, the league was going to break apart, the teams were going to split and go elsewhere. And then in that short period of time, partly under the leadership of Brett Yormark, the league has managed to bounce back. It is actually stronger than it's been in quite some time. And, part of that is what Brett talked about yesterday. We talked about the addition of the 8 new teams over the last 2 years. How they've expanded their reach, how they've expanded their brand, how they're looking for more opportunities to create revenue. We mentioned selling the naming rights, how that could help things out for this league. Talked about private equity, where maybe injecting some money into the league would eventually help them find a way maybe to kind of catch up and close the gap between the SEC and the Big Ten. So it really was more of a positive spin. He said, basically, when it came down to it, I think we're the best league in college athletics right now, and we're going to move forward with that. So a very positive outlook going off of this come out.
Matt, do you think they would be open to somebody just cash on the barrelhead buying their way into that league?
You mean like you mean talking like a private equity firm? Or are you talking like? I mean, I think an equity firm, they would be interested in that. I think they would be very interested.
I'll be more clear than that. FedEx makes them a deal they can't refuse to buy the University of Memphis into the league.
I'm not sure about that. That would be quite unprecedented. I mean, essentially, it would be buying your way into the league. I'm not sure if they want to get down that road just yet. But I'm sure they're looking at all options with what's on the table. I mean, they understand that over the next 3 or 4 years, college athletics is going to change. When you look at the house settlement situation, how these schools are really trying to find their way. He didn't talk about this specifically, but obviously the ACC situation with some of their teams, kind of Florida State and Clemson, eager to, in the middle of lawsuits and trying to get out of there. There's this idea of like, will there be another round of conference realignment? If that happens, what do you do? He wasn't really, Brett wasn't really going to address that specifically, but, I think that's going to be on the table. And then, several coaches I spoke with yesterday mentioned super conferences. They still believe in a couple of years, you could see this possibility of 2 32-team, super conferences. So, I think at this point, and no one has a definitive answer, but right now everyone's just trying to figure out a way what the future could possibly look like.
Yeah. Before we heard any of the coaches talk yesterday, even before we heard the commissioner talk, we got the Big 12 media preseason poll. UCF, the team you cover very closely, they had them ranked 8th among the 16 teams. They had Utah winning it and Oklahoma State right there behind them. What do you think of the preseason poll, and do you think that's a fair ranking for UCF going into the season?
Yeah, I think it was a little low for me. I mean, I felt like I'd put them maybe more in the 6, 5 to 6 range.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be a factor. They've got a lot of new players. They restructured their coaching staff a little bit, adding new coordinators. I've talked to Gus Malzahn several times, even today. Just they're very positive outlook. They feel like they can contend. This is a league right now that has a lot of good parity. When you bring in the 4 new schools from the Pac-12, Texas and Oklahoma are gone now to the SEC. Yes, Utah was picked, to win the conference, but there's probably 5 or 6 teams that could be in that mix at the end of the year. So it's not as if there's one runaway team and then a bunch of also-rans. I think they feel like this is an opportunity this year for any team can make a solid run, especially if they can find a way to get things together. So I think that's the way UCF's approach is taking it. Is like, yeah, they feel like they can contend for the Big 12 title this year if everything goes well.
Our guest on Sissy's Log Cabin guest line is Matt Murschel in Las Vegas for the Orlando Sentinel. He's on the UCF beat and covering all things Big 12. And he was with us a few weeks ago, and we really appreciate your time again today, Matt. Yesterday, when you read Mike Gundy's comments, they come off very cryptic, very much Mike Gundy. When I see them, I may be in a very small minority. I want to stand up and cheer. He is talking the language of the here and now, in my opinion, Matt, and the language I think we should be talking about. He said, and he did it, and when you see it, it's not near as acerbic as when you just read it. But he talked about Ollie Gordon and the DWI, and he's still going to play. And he said this is his job. He is an employee. I think some in college sports want to daydream and go back to a time and place that these are student athletes, and these are just players getting room book tuition. No, this is cash on the barrelhead now. You want to be paid like an adult, you're going to be referred to like one. Mike Gundy did it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly his message was like, listen, this isn't, we're not coddling children here. We understand these guys are making, hundreds of thousands of dollars now with NIL opportunities, and soon, they'll be making more when you look at this idea of revenue sharing. And so, it's not like you have to protect everyone here and push them to the side and make sure nothing happens bad. When bad things happen, you have to address them. I commend the fact that he brought Ollie Gordon here. I mean, most coaches would have said, no, I don't want this guy to be here. It's rewarding him for something, and he's going to be here. And, Ollie sat and answered the questions, and so did Mike. I mean, Mike said, listen, this is what's going on. Now, I think anybody will look around and say, okay, you don't want this kind of situation going on in the off season, but there's a lot worse things that could happen. So I think for Ollie, I think he understands what he did wrong. I think he's going to try to bounce back from it. And I'm sure Gundy's going to, do his part in making sure that there was an appropriate penalty. But after that, he pretty much said he's going to drop. He said, once we leave Vegas, it's over with. I'm not even going to deal with it.
Do you think people are ready for 20, 21-year-old, 19 even, 19, 20, 21-year-old college players to be talked about so brusquely and matter-of-factly as like at an NFL building? They want it on their side. They want an agent. They want the money. They want to roll just like the 28-year-old NFL player. But then when it gets down to, no, I'm not going to suspend you, and I'm not going to call you. I got a job. You got a job. I'm doing mine. You go do yours.
Yeah, and I mean, I think fans, it's going to take them a bit, I think, to kind of embrace that a little bit. I mean, this is what I had a lot of fans talk with me about, is that what they don't like or don't anticipate liking is this idea of, like, you know, you rooted for a school, you rooted for the team, you had players that you liked, and you followed them through the 3 or 4 years, and then, you know, they moved on. And I think now in today's day and age, that's not going to be around. You know, you're going to have a player maybe who's here at a school 1 or 2 years and then moves on. And I've been saying this for years. College athletics is a business now. It's been a business ever since they started signing these billion-dollar deals. You know, so the idea of amateurism and, you know, they're student athletes and all that, you know, that's been out the window for a long time. I think these players understand that. You know, I'm here at Media Day. I've been here for 2 days. Not one player or coach has talked about academics. You know, I mean, at least not to the point of, like, you know, they're trying, you know, maybe they'll push the idea that we're trying to get degrees, but, you know, no player here is talking about, I can't wait to finish and get my degree and all that stuff. They're talking about opportunities for NIL. They're talking about transfer issues and things like that. So it's an amazing time, you know, really, when you think about it. And it really doesn't showcase stuff more than when you go to one of these media days.
Matt, did the moderator at the various availabilities, did they ask or direct, like Matt Michelle from the Orlando Sentinel wants to direct a question to student athlete Ollie Gordon? Did they even refer to him as that from the dais?
No. I mean,
good,
you know, I mean,
because it was garbage when we all did it for years.
Well, you know, as an old school newspaper guy, you know, we've always been taught I never referred to players as student athletes, you know, in a story. We always refer to them as athletes. You know what I mean? Right. And I know athletic directors don't like that because they love to say, oh, they're student athletes. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but that's not exactly, you know what I mean? They're athletes at this point, you know what I mean? And just like an Olympian is an athlete, you know what I mean? And you're going to do what you can, and you're going to make your money. And don't get me wrong, there are some great stories where guys go on and get their degrees,
sure,
and they have good
careers.
There's opportunity.
You know,
but there's opportunity there, and I think it's always great to see that. But it's really difficult in today's day and age, especially when you want to talk to me about loyalty and, you know, when you're seeing transfers. I mean, I think the majority of the players here at the Big 12 Media Day are probably transfers who transferred at least once during their time. You know, and that's something that, you know, I think it just shows the sign of the time. I mean, very rarely do you. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I always thought it was hocus pocus to go to those NCAA tournament basketball media availabilities, and it was so highbrowed and so patronizing. You know, direct your questions to the student athlete, because you know and I know, if you'd have gotten your hand on that microphone and you'd have really dug in on that player at that dais about, well, tell me about your favorite class. Tell me about some of your favorite professors. Tell me about some of the other students around campus in your class. They would be cutting you off in 2 seconds for being too probative and asking too many questions. It was always posturing about all that garbage, and I am so glad we're getting away from it.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see more of that. I mean, I think if college football, for instance, breaks away from the NCAA, if they decide to have their own, you know, one of the stories I'm working on is a lot of coaches have talked about getting a college football commissioner, you know, someone who can oversee college football. And they talked about breaking away from the NCAA and trying to find a way to run it as a business. I mean, several coaches told me that right now college football is essentially a minor league NFL league, you know, like league. And so it's that they're already seeing it that way. They already feel it that way. So I think that's where, you know, if the coaches feel it that way, you know, it can't be that far along. So I think that's what the main emphasis has been.
Yeah. Matt Marshall joins us from the Orlando Sentinel to talk Big 12 Media Days in Vegas. And I saw this went completely under the radar for me, and I just saw it a couple minutes ago. But Brett Yormark said at at Big 12 Media Days that the departing Pac-12 schools will play in Pac-12 affiliated bowls for the next 2 years. What has the talk been about that around Big 12 Media Days, and what will that mean for some of these teams?
Well, I mean, it just means when you look at the Big 12 bowl situation, how they're going to be able to fill some of those slots. They felt like there were some situations where they're going to have to continue to do these. I mean, I think people tend to forget that there are contracts in place.
Right.
Like they've been in place for a while, and they have to find a way to either honor them or to fill them out. And I think what's going to be interesting about the bowl situation is just, I mean, with the new playoff, with the new 12-team playoff, it's going to really kind of change the outlook of bowls. It's going to change, those affiliations, I think, will eventually end up going away. I don't think you'll get to a point where you'll have certain conferences attached to certain bowl games like we've had in the past. I think it's just going to be what's the best, jumble them up and what's the best situation, whether it's geographic or whatever, to get these teams to play them.
Matt, I think that's a rosier outlook on it. It might just get down to who will take whatever's left.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, the Citrus Bowl in Orlando has been, they take the highest ranked SEC and Big Ten teams outside of the New Year's Six games, the playoff games. Well, now all of a sudden that changes. You got 12 teams that are be gone. You may have 3 SEC teams gone. You may have 3 Big Ten teams gone. All of a sudden, when you had a really good high ranked matchup, all of a sudden maybe you're not going to have such a high ranked match. It's going to be the 4th, 5th best team in the SEC. So it's a challenge for these bowls. They have to understand that there's the what happened to their inventory has slowly gone down, and so it'll be interesting to see how they end up handling that. That's something I've spoken with a couple of bowl representatives here about what they're really kind of looking at.
Could you make a case, Matt, with a straight face, legitimate case, that 3 Big 12 teams get into the 12-team college football playoff?
We talked about that a lot last few days. I think 2 for sure. I don't know about 3. I mean, I just think with the SEC as strong as they are, with the Big Ten as strong as they are, I think it's going to be tough to, find a way to get in there. Now, if Notre Dame struggles and they don't find their way into the top 12, if something happens in the Big Ten and maybe the top 2 teams are nowhere near as strong, or top 3 or 4 teams are nowhere as strong, maybe it happens. But I think it's going to be tough. I do think, and I wrote about this list today, I do think there are probably about 3 or 4 Big 12 teams that will be in contention for the Big 12 title. Now, whether or not they're going to be ranked high enough to get into the 12-team playoff, I think that's a whole nother matter.
How has Vegas been as a host? Because going forward, especially if we go to 14 teams and incorporate more bowl games in the postseason bracket, and even for the standalone college football playoff national championship game, Vegas is going to be in the middle of it all, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And so, I mean, Vegas itself is an amazing city. I mean, if you've never been here, it's such a tourism destination. If you go down the Strip, it's just packed with people. It's been really hot this week, so I can't base a lot of my I think it was about 118 degrees here yesterday when we left the stadium.
It's a dry heat, though, Matt.
Yeah, it's a dry heat. Yeah, exactly. But the stadium is beautiful. I mean, the stadium's gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I think it's a good facility. I think it'd be a great place to host these games. And, talking with some of the Big 12 people, they still need to figure out where they're going to host next year's Big 12 Media Day. They're not going to be able to do Dallas because of the fact that AT&T Stadium is going to be used for a World Cup qualifier. So, Brett's kind of talked about Vegas as a second home in the Big 12. Will they decide to come here, or will they go on the road, maybe going to other big venues like Phoenix, for instance, or, for Arizona for one of their pro stadiums, or maybe go somewhere else, where they feel like they can be a good fit. They like the stadium feel. They'd love to do something like that.
Yeah. Matt, Deion Sanders started the day today for coaches, and obviously Deion can say anything and it makes headlines. But today he said, "I'm judged on a different scale. My wins are totally different than your wins." That's kind of made headlines since he said that. What did you make of that quote, and what do you think this Colorado team can do in year one of the Big 12? Because last year they were the big story to start the year, a really hot start, and then a really struggle towards the end of the season. What can Deion Sanders' team do this year in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think his comments, listen, I think the question really kind of came down to, was asked the idea about being an African-American coach, and I think that's where it kind of stems from this idea of like, yes, my wins are treated differently than, per se, maybe a Caucasian coach,
sure.
Because again, I think, and he also feels like, listen, I'm Deion Sanders, and everyone's going to, when my name is attached to something, they're always going to say, well, what about this? What about that? He talked about if I fail, it's going to mean more. Like people are going to make a bigger deal out of it. So I kind of understand what he's trying to say there with this idea of like that. I think that's kind of been his message was listen, I'm just going to be me, and my team is going to understand that, and we're going to find success that way rather than trying to fit into some hole that maybe they don't fit into. I think this could be a good Colorado team. I don't know if they're going to contend this year. I mean, a lot of people think they might, but I still think it's going to take another year or so. I mean, listen, going in and bringing in as many transfers as he's had, rotating the roster as he's had as much as he had the last 2 years, it's going to be difficult. And, again, you go on the road, you play some tough games. They open up with North Dakota State. They open up with some tough challenges. They go to Orlando for UCF. So I think it's going to be a tough challenge at times for them. But, I think they can get better. If they can find a way to be stronger, faster, I think they have an opportunity. It's not like they're like the other 4 schools from last year where you're making the leap from a group of 5 conference to a power conference. They've been in a power conference. They understand what it's going to take to win. They just have to find a way to put it all together.
Who's the best coach in the Big 12?
Best head coach. Man, that's a tough one. Gundy's got the most seniority right now. Now, and I think there's a lot of push, for him being kind of the Nick Saban-ish of, the Big 12, when you think about it. A lot of coaches talked about this idea that they need guys like Deion Sanders. They need big, brash, vocal guys who can really kind of take a lot of attention and put a lot of attention on the league. So, but Willie Fritz is the guy who's coming in as a Houston coach. This is the first time, he's making the move from Tulane. He's had a lot of success at Tulane. Now whether he's going to find that same success at, in the Big 12, we'll see. Kyle Whittingham, to be honest with you, is just popped in my head, of Utah, is probably the most, when you think about him and Mike Gundy are probably the two. Kyle's won, multiple Pac-12 championships. He understands exactly what it needs to be done to win at the highest level.
When you look at the teams in this conference, I hear everyone talk about how competitive this conference can be, and every game is going to be a close game in conference play. Last year, West Virginia comes in, and they're picked dead last in the conference, and we're a fun team to watch and an impressive team on the field. Who's a team maybe this offseason that nobody's really talking about in Big 12 play, and maybe at the end of the season isn't contending at the top for the conference championship, but makes things interesting in this conference?
Well, I think, you're looking at like maybe a BYU, for instance. Iowa State returns a lot of players. They return a lot of experience. There's a lot of buzz on their program. Matt Campbell, this is probably going to be kind of one of those precious situations where he's going to have to try to win as much as he can. Again, Gus has a lot of pieces at UCF. If they can find a way to flip the script from what they did last year, I could see them winning 9 or 10 games and being a factor. So those are really kind of the teams that I think that to me, I think can make the biggest push early on. That it can take like a big, it doesn't require a lot of work, let's put it that way.
Well, tell us your ballot. Who do you have in the Big 12 championship game?
Actually, I picked Utah to win it all because I just think that Whittingham's, his experience is something that has a lot come at. Cam Rising, who's like a 8th-year senior, I think it is.
At least,
you got an experienced quarterback. Yes, you got an experienced quarterback. They've played really well. They're a ranked team. I think they're going to be tough to beat. I also think Kansas and Kansas State are going to be big challengers as well. Both those schools have played really well over the last couple of years, and I think they got an opportunity to do so again.
Yeah, well, it's starting to feel like football season for sure, and now with one media day down, it definitely is starting to feel real, like the season's around the corner.
You set the pace for everybody,
That's
Matt.
right.
I don't know about that. I know I need a nap after today. So that's it's been a busy 2 days, and
sure.
it's been a fun opportunity here. But again, it's we'll see. The next week is the SEC that kicks in, so I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about over the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
Would you have preferred it over 3 days instead of 2?
No. They asked about they talked a little bit about that they had thought at one point they might try to make this a 3-day event, but I've heard from a lot of coaches and some other people involved that they were worried that by day 3 people would just be exhausted. You know what I mean? And it's kind of what happens with the SEC when you get to day 4 of the SEC media days, because what happens is basically everyone's trying to get out of there. They got their bags packed, they're trying to hit the airport, and whoever's on the main stage kind of gets overshadowed because I think people are just done and want to move on. So I think 2 days works perfectly. Now, if they had a couple more teams, then I may want to change that.
I don't blame you. Well, Matt, thanks so much for joining us, and let's do this again soon.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Take care.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. Matt and Michelle with us. And I was looking at the schedule this year on October 11th. Arizona State plays at home against Utah, and that's going to be Kenny Dillingham versus Kyle Whittingham.
There we go. I love that.
Good luck with the announcers for that
man.
one.
They better not say their names too close together. Brett, I'm curious if you saw this. And I almost brought it up to Matt while we were talking to him. And I know you've seen both of these guys play. So I think you'd be a good person to ask maybe a little litmus test on this. Gus Malzahn today, talking about his new quarterback, KJ Jefferson, said physically he's the closest thing to Cam Newton, that I've had.
I would agree with that. Wholeheartedly would agree with it. Now tell me, what kind of shape is he in?
Yeah.
Is he really ripped? Did he really put in the work? And did he put in the work all summer and back in the spring with his position coach to kind of get out of that lock-kneed passing style from the pocket? Bend his knees a little bit and really fire off that right foot a little more, and maybe Gus Malzahn could get that out of him. At times, Kendall Briles could, but it was hard to get it consistently from him.
Sure.
But no, I do not think that at all that's an outlandish comparison. I think I have thought it. I don't know if I ever voiced it.
Right.
Because that 1 year of Cam, that
was special.
Over the moon.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible. And I think that's the thing. It gets, a comment like that will get people excited about KJ, but it's, will you be able to use him like you were able to use Cam and get out of him what you were able to get out of Cam? And that's the big question.
In Cam's supporting cast that year at Auburn, it was good, but that was it. Had some defensive pieces that were good, but he did a lot of that himself.
He was definitely the star.
Next week at SEC Media Days, Jason's Deli, they're going to be with us next week like they are always with us, and they're always with all of us around here, over 200 Memphis area associates at all these great locations, like over by MUS on Ridgeway Road, by the U of M at Poplar and Highland, down in Olive Branch, out in Cordova, and always online, and it's always healthy. First franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and it's all about choice at Jason's Deli on these hot summer days. Treat yourself to this. Treat yourself to the complimentary ice cream. Now you got to shop there. You can't poach the ice cream. Treat yourself to that, but also to the strawberry shortcake this time of year. That'll cool it down on a hot summer day. And all that choice, whether you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, you'll be delighted at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from, and all those salads, like the great salad bar in all the locations. Over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare it however you'd like. And then off the menu, the chicken club salad, the big chef salad, my favorite, the taco salad, and the catering anytime, anywhere. 5 or 5,000, you having a vacation Bible school event, a summer get-together, maybe teachers thinking about a back-to-work event. Start planning now. Let Jason's Deli do all the work. If you don't think you have it planned properly, step aside. That's when they really excel on same day and last-minute orders welcome. Last-minute orders being like at 11 o'clock for a 12 o'clock event. They can pull it off. That's where they excel at Jason's Deli, bringing more to the table. It's a family thing, dining in, to-go or delivery. And as always, you can check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. And don't forget the complimentary free ice cream.
Well, we're late for a break. Let's go ahead and get to that. And when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
To understand what makes Genesis Diamonds so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back over 40 years to the diamond cutting capital of Tel Aviv, Israel. That's where Genesis owner Boaz Ramon grew up, in the center of the diamond universe. His connections with the best diamond cutters allowed him special access, giving rise to a thriving wholesale business here in the United States. Then, after a few years, this wholesaler changed the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices he had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success. Today, Genesis Diamonds provides that extraordinary value to people right here in Middle Tennessee, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best price of any jewelry store in America. Genesis Diamonds, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Genesis Diamonds and luxury premium Rolexes and popular Morgans Extended.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is an ACUSA church located in Midtown, Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Several EMS calls out here the last 15-20 minutes. It remains busy over here, but it's moving on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. It got a little bit heavy earlier at certain sections of 55 on the bridge. They're headed towards West Memphis, coming back over from West Memphis as well. Down south, not bad on 55. That's all we're looking at live right now as you head on down through South Haven. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Brett with you. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending. And Brett, I hope you didn't have your Zach Edey jersey ready for the Summer League game tonight because, according to Drew Hill, he will not be playing tonight. Drew Hill reported earlier that Zach Edey and Jake LaRavia are both out tonight with minor ankle soreness. The Grizzlies are being cautious because it is Summer League again. Minor injury. So really stressing the point that Summer League, we're just going to hold the guys out, kind of like the overreactions the other day when Bronny James, and of course Bronny James always going to make headlines, but Bronny played the first game, didn't play the second game with knee soreness, and everyone's saying, oh, of course, after the first game he's hurt and isn't playing. It's Summer League. Let's calm down. They don't need to play every single game. I don't mind it either. I said yesterday to a couple people that I would not be shocked at all if they just opted not to play him last night and tonight, or maybe play him and only play him 10 or so minutes, because I think a lot of people are going to want to see him play against those other big-time rookies at Summer League in Vegas. And so, I'm not – it doesn't bother me at all that he's not playing tonight.
Not at all. But I did have my jersey on. You know that.
I know you did. But it's okay,
It's real long, though. I think it's the actual one of his jerseys.
Wow, took it off his back. How about that?
Yeah, I could almost wear it as an evening gown.
All 7-4 of them.
Which, me out in dragon evening gown would be something.
It sure would be. It's an image that I didn't want in my head.
Yeah,
but, now it's up there, so... But no, so we'll see what this team looks like. It looks like everybody outside of those two guys will suit up and go tonight for the Grizzlies. Again, that game at 6 o'clock tonight on NBA TV against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I would love to find out from somebody, and I will try. Got to give it some time.
Sure.
But just see where Zach Edey jerseys and jersey sales are.
That's a good question. Because I really don't know. I think everyone's...
Both out of the Grizzlies team store.
Sure.
Maybe NBA properties as well.
Sure.
I'd love to know that before we go into the season, because we know what will sell a lot.
Yeah.
Really a lot of production and a lot of winning.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And so I think, I don't know, because I could see it both ways. I could see, good sales, but I could also see,
I'm pulling so hard for him.
Yeah.
First and foremost, the homer in me. I want the Grizzlies to do well.
Sure. Yeah, I think.
But also
absolutely.
For a lot of the real loud critics, especially last year after the ugly NCAA tournament loss.
Sure. Yeah. And when something like that happens, I mean, it brings a lot of people out.
But he rebounded from it.
No, you're absolutely right.
It made him better and tougher.
It sure did, and that's the thing about Zach Edey is, everything you hear about him is. He's always trying to get better. He's always working. He always has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, this is a guy that was, not real recruit. I mean, everyone talks about it, and I have to be reminded every single time that he was a part of that IMG team that came to Memphis and played Kenny Chandler when he was at Brockrest. I was at that game, and I don't remember Zach Edey being in that game. I don't remember watching him. I don't remember seeing him.
Who was the post player you remember from that game? Anything stand out?
Nah, nothing really stands out. I know they had some good players, but I don't remember I don't know, was Jaden
Wings
Springer
and threes took every shot.
Yeah, I mean it was the guards that dominated that game. I think they had a big guy that I was watching, but it certainly wasn't Zach Edey. I remember that, and I'm reminded all the time. Now, John Varlas is usually the one that reminds me. He'll post it every once in a while. But that's the thing. He was not a highly touted recruit out of high school, and went to Purdue, and it was kind of a process at Purdue. But then starts playing, and it just takes college basketball by storm, and now is a top 10 pick. And so I think he's a guy that has a chip on his shoulder and is out to prove people wrong about him. And I think that's what you want in a player.
With the announcement today of the Tigers and Arkansas State playing this year, do you know the role Arkansas State played in a key player and key moment in Tiger basketball history? It's where Keith Lee signed.
Is that right?
He signed with Arkansas State.
Completely signed with them.
Yes.
Wow.
And Eddie Sutton and Frank Broyles were going to have none of it. I mean, it was not going to happen. If they had to go to the governor, it was not going to happen.
Man.
and he signs with Nelson Catalina and Arkansas State. Marvin may have still been coached there. Cat may have been recruiting him.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he signs with Arkansas State, but in some work that only Coach Brawls could pull off with his buddy David Kaywood at the NCAA, not only got it null and void, got Arkansas State on probation. And he signed with the Tigers.
Wow, funny how that can happen.
Because he was not going to Fayetteville.
Right. Wow, that's incredible. I had no idea. But yeah, now we'll see him on the hardwood this year, and
very big moment. The Tigers opened the Convocation Center when it was a brand new, and it still is a very nice building. Sure. But when it was brand new, sparkling, and a 10 million miles improvement over the old field house. Ask Zeke around the radio station about the field house in Joe's Boogie in the days. You need to ask him that, and he'll go, I know who put you up to this.
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely have to ask him
that. And the improvement the Convocation Center was, the Tigers Open, it was a wild, really fun win for Memphis on the road over there to win that game. I'm not as wild about the basketball series with Arkansas State as I am a football series for this reason. It's never been close. Tigers lead all time 13-4. In football, it's 33-23 Tigers. Tigers having won the last 5 in a row, really have stretched out a lead there. But I do like it for this. How many times I say, if play somebody in the neighborhood.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that suffices.
Yeah. No, and I'm that's where I am with this. I mean, I like kind of the regional foes and playing teams like you said that are in the area makes it easy for fans of both teams to
helps
make
everybody
that
at
drive.
budget time.
Oh, absolutely, and
really helps ASU.
It definitely does.
They're going to get a check, and they're going to ride a fancy passenger van over and back.
No, you're absolutely
That'd
right.
be no hotel.
No, not at all. And so, it makes it easy for budget for the athletic departments and for fans to, get to those games. I mean, I've been to plenty of Memphis and Arkansas State football games in my life. And,
were you there for the long delay one?
I was.
Boy, you had to be then.
I was I think 6 or 7 maybe.
Yeah.
I think Connor was super young. But yeah,
Connor, you were there too?
Oh yeah, Connor was there.
I was indeed.
Yeah,
you were in your mother's arms, I bet.
Yeah, and we went to Walmart during the delay, and
during which delay? There was 9 of them.
Brett, before my time, I can't remember that much. I just remember being in Walmart buying 15 ponchos to wear.
You call it great.
And I
Connor, do you remember that well?
Of the car on the way back.
I remember a few bits and pieces, not a lot at all.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But it was a distinct memory in my
That's
life.
Great.
But honestly, Brett, I mean, you talk about this football series. The past couple of meetings against Arkansas State have been good games. I mean, they've been interesting, and maybe for better or for worse. But they've been intriguing games.
I don't get a real appetite from Tiger fans of wanting that game, though.
No, not at all. And I don't know how much my appetite is for it either. But I mean, like I said, I do like playing kind of teams around you. Like I said, makes it easy for people.
All right, I'm getting ready to throw gasoline on a fire right here before we get out. With that not great appetite for it, and frankly, that feeling of, if you lose,
sure.
you just don't have anything to gain in that series. Can you a little bit see the Ole Miss perspective in the Memphis football thing with that?
See, I thought you were going to go a different team there, but yeah, I mean, I think
because that all-time winning record is much wider for Ole Miss over Memphis than it is Memphis over Arkansas State.
Definitely. I mean, I think there's definitely some truth to that.
And I say to heck with all that.
Yeah.
Play.
I'm with you.
Sun comes up. Yeah. It doesn't kill anybody.
No, not at all. And so I wish Memphis would play all those teams, and those teams would want to play Memphis and all of these sports. If
you win, you don't have to spike the ball at anybody, and if you lose, get better and get them next time.
Right. Yeah. And so it's interesting. I like I like getting Arkansas State on the schedule, especially this year. Like I mentioned, early in the show.
You thought I was bringing up the Big Orange.
I did. I thought you were bringing up Tennessee. But
I think that door's so slammed shut, I don't even think about it. Isn't that sad?
Yeah. I mean,
the Tennessee was never annual. Like like the friendship between Coach Faulk and Coach Murphy that really established that. It was a little established even before them, but their friendship, they were going to play.
Oh, yeah. No, that's absolutely right.
There's no telling what they probably had sideways, you know.
Hey, but that's,
probably had something to do with the golf course.
Oh, of course. Everything's got to do with the golf course. But no, I think this will be a fun game on the schedule for the Tigers. And I saw somebody have the Tigers' schedule all written out, and I was curious where this exactly kind of fell between in terms of before and after. And
so somebody's already kind of correlated for the. Oh, I want to see that.
I know exactly who it was. It was Bart Torvik.
I want to. So he's got the dates that we know are established
for non-conference. He has them all listed, and so obviously he doesn't have Arkansas State in there yet because it just happened, and nothing, Memphis hasn't announced it, but Arkansas State has.
There's a couple Sundays in December, isn't it?
Oh, there's a lot of Sundays in December.
For them playing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I knew what you meant. And there's not a lot of Sundays. There's a lot of Saturdays.
Okay.
But this is, I believe, is the only Sunday right now. And that will probably be first game out of, what date was it again? The 8th? Is that
December
right?
December 8th.
That'll probably be first game back from Maui.
And that's a slower, that's no college. Well, no, it's no. There is college football that weekend. Is that Army-Navy that weekend?
It might be.
I know it's Heisman Trophy that weekend.
Yeah.
Or is Army-Navy the next weekend?
Let's see.
So it's a pretty good weekend to have a game on, but Sunday in the NFL.
Sure, yeah, that's definitely going to always block out the sun. No, so that's December 14th, Army and Navy.
Okay, so this is Sunday, December 8th. So it's the Sunday after conference championship games on Saturday.
That's right. So we've got all conference championship games on Saturday. And
that could be Memphis Tigers hosting, playing football on Saturday at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and on Sunday at FedEx Forum against ASU.
Yeah, so this Arkansas State game will come right after Maui, at least in my mind. It would come right after Maui and right before playing Clemson on the road. It's a tough spot for that game to show up in.
Bryant, that's tough.
That's tough, yeah. I mean, this schedule is going to be tough, and I think a lot of people look at Arkansas State and say, oh, it's Arkansas State. But, I mean, you mentioned it. Favored, they're the favorites right now in their conference.
I would pick the Tigers now.
Oh, absolutely.
When we get to W's and L's, I'll pick them then. But it will be really careful watch.
And my point is, this is not kind of the traditional bye game that you would think about when we were kind of talking about 3 games left to put on the schedule. It's going to be 3 bye games, and, it's going to be kind of.
Well, let me go out of my way and make everybody mad. This isn't playing Central Arkansas.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Maybe not even my buddy Darrell Walker in Little Rock.
I don't think so. I think this is a step up. And he got a commitment today from a guy we're familiar with, Jonathan Lawson, committed to Little Rock. So there you go. How about that?
He did, and a UALR friend of mine has nothing to do with administration. And texted me, "What are we getting?" I said, "Well, good luck."
Getting a Lawson, that's for sure.
Did you not watch him last year?
Well, you blinked and you missed him in a Creighton game. I mean, it was not a lot of playing time for him. But I mean, you got to give credit to Penny for the schedule that he's put together. It is incredible, the non-conference slate. But we need to get to a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342.
There's no place like home, Town Village.
Looking for a way to elevate your engine's performance? Start with Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. It provides faster oil flow for hot and cold temperature protection in the harshest driving conditions. Regular use can help your engine run cleaner and longer by defending against sludge and buildup, improving overall engine performance and fuel efficiency while increasing the time between oil changes. Make the switch without slowing down. Feed your ride Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elmer Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell. It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, Reese Hines has hit the scene for the Cincinnati Reds and has been impressive through 2 games. He's their number 15 prospect in the Cincinnati Reds organization. They called him up, and a guy that
Reds have hope.
No, the Reds certainly have hope and playing better baseball, but this is a guy that I don't think many people expected to get called up and do what he's doing. Batting .216 before being called up at the AAA level. Kind of had a strikeout issue in the minors, striking out 38.4% of the time. But in his last 2 games, he's hitting .625 with 2 home runs, 1 in each game, and in his debut hit one 445 feet. So don't know if this is gonna stick around. He's gonna be hitting like this for a while, but at least these first couple games have been fun to watch. I haven't looked at their lineup today, but I'm sure he's back in the lineup again tonight, and we'll see if maybe he can continue to work his magic for that lineup.
They don't waste any time getting them to the show now, do they?
No. I mean, it really is incredible how
and
quick
it's a shame for minor league cities. I mean, we used to have a player full year and in kind of that next year, and you just really don't anymore. They get them up there fast. What I learned, unlike the Yankees with all that payroll, Tampa Bay, the Rays, they've had to do it the old-fashioned way. Be smart, developmental, a lot of risk-taking, but they haven't won really anything late at all in their history. They hadn't won the World Series. They've been to a World Series, and the Yankees have not won anything since 2009 either, but they've got all that history to rest on.
Yeah.
The Rays, they don't, and now a big piece of their future, they're not going to have. Wander Franco's in a lot of trouble, and he should be.
Yeah, a lot of trouble, and that walks me right into what I could have done without today, because that story from start to finish, it does not read nice. Wander Franco has been formally charged with commercial exploitation of a minor, according to a statement earlier today. And then I saw an update later this afternoon. Jeff Passan retweeted it from a reporter down in the Dominican Republic that said, through a press release, Dominican authorities indicate that in addition to the crimes of sexual abuse and sexual exploitation against a minor, Wander Franco is being accused of human trafficking. The crime has penalties up to 20 years in prison. This has been, like you said, Brett, a disgusting story ever since it first came out as rumors. And now the potential 20 years. I hope he gets it. I hope he serves all 20 years, if not more. I mean, when you do something to a child, I have no sympathy for you at all.
And we were at AutoZone Park to watch him come through that year with Durham.
Was the can't-miss prospect and had started his minor league career as the next face of baseball. And now we'll never see a field again.
Did you watch any of the Rory press conference today?
I didn't see any. I read some quotes from it, but I didn't catch any of it.
Oh, he's just so neurotic. Roars is just all over the place. He's a great player, but he's cracked under pressure a lot in the last 10 years. Never in a Ryder Cup. He's always nails in that, but he cracks under pressure and then heads back to Palm Beach County.
Yeah, and nothing
Do
really,
the good life.
Nothing really direct, at least in what I was reading today, about, hey, man, why did you just run out after the U.S. Open?
Didn't even do the half-hearted apology.
No, it was weird, because I thought at least maybe not.
It was really kind of still up y'all's.
It definitely was. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to a long day of baseball at Busch Stadium. First game didn't go the Cardinals' way. Very important for both teams. Kansas City right there on the outside looking in for American League playoff picture. And the Cardinals, with a really good run before the break, could catch the Braves and could do some damage with the Brewers.
Yeah, definitely could. I mean, it's a big weekend, and I think you saw they're trying to keep their arms ready for this weekend series against the Cubs. We mentioned it earlier. Palante, they kind of left him out there when things got really dicey in that first game against the Royals. We'll see if they can bounce back later tonight. Beam me to Las Vegas tonight for Canada and USA, a little exhibition to get ready for the Olympics. And talk about a good tune-up opportunity for Team USA. Both teams, honestly, for both USA and Canada, I think facing two of the best teams I think will be around in the Olympics facing off tonight in an exhibition.
I'm going to catch some of that. Some of the Scottish Open starts just in a little bit, it feels like. Summer League tonight, the end of Big 12 Media Days. We'll see all the wrap-up there. We mentioned 17 baseball games today and tonight. Cubs at Camden Yards, Dodgers at Phillies, Buccos at Brew Crew, and the Blue Jays at the Giants.
Yeah, some really good baseball games tonight. I like this lineup we've got.
I feel sorry for the late-night update person to have to rattle through 17 games and highlights.
Geez. Yeah, no, that's a lot. Yeah, it's already a lot on a regular night, and then you throw in more. Oh, man, yeah, couldn't be me. That's all I can say. But it will be a fun night watching all the action. Grizzlies, their Summer League game against the Thunder. It'll tip off here in a couple minutes over on NBA TV as they'll take on the Thunder. Their last game in Salt Lake City to wrap up that Summer League before they head to Vegas. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. Enjoy all the action. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.